It's the Blast Master KRS-ONE, and I'm excited about this new masterclass that's going down at 1520. Blast Master KRS-ONE, and I'm excited about this new masterclass that's going down at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, the birthplace of hip-hop. We call this the Hip-Hop Cultural Specialist Masterclass. See, what's happening is that we're putting an exhibit into the 1520 Community Center where hip-hop began. But to put an exhibit into the community center, you got to train the guides, the hosts, the curators. That's what we're doing. From May 8th to May 12th, 2023, we'll be training a group of students like yourself. You don't want to miss this. Tuition starts at $4.99. Dues paying Temple members get their tuition cut in half. And if you register right now to the email on your screen, you can register for scholarship and/or sponsorship. There's no excuse. Get on right now and make sure you're part of this class. This is your last chance. Course starts on Monday. I'll see you there.
Peace and much love. Hip Hop Appreciation Week is celebrated every year, the third week in May. This year is 15th to the 21st. Our theme this year is MCing. Hip Hop Appreciation Week has been celebrated globally since 1998. This year, 2023, we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of Hip Hop Appreciation Week. We're calling all hip hop community to come together and appreciate the culture of hip hop. We are hip hop.
We all have to admit to ourselves, those of us who love hip hop, really technically live hip hop, that it was a certain consciousness from our conscious quote unquote artists that inspired us to be better, to do better than the circumstances that we were faced with every day, the daily struggle.
Raise up that volume on the conscious hip hop. Perform responsibility as a hip hopper for hip hop culture. This is more than music, and collectively, we are operating together under the oneness.
Hip and hop is more than music, but that music is technically more than music. We have been guided by the teachers of our culture, really our teacher, for an unrelentless 30 years of constant reminder of you can have high intelligence. You should strive for high intelligence. That you should strive technically to be God.
Just as other coaches teach other coaches, hip hop is no different. Hip Hop Appreciation Week is put aside for us to come together collectively. For hip hop should be appreciated every day. And let's not forget the love that saved us, because hip hop is the answer to the suffering.
Every hip hopper that I talk to says, no, hip hop changed my life. And if it wasn't for hip hop didn't exist, if that voice, if those words, if I had no access to it, I very likely would have given up. I would not have tried to become who I became.
Hip hop is an international culture of peace, and we're here to preserve hip hop's culture by first preserving the hip hopper. So during this time, preserve yourself and reflect on the responsibility that we have upon our culture. The time is now.
Hip hop, real hip hop, peace, love, unity, safely having fun, giving that to your children. Health, love, awareness of wealth, giving that to your children. Hip hop, intelligence moving, give that to your children. Make sure you remind them if they're doing something stupid, you need to be moving your intelligence. Work your mind.
Hip hop culture is an international culture of peace. And Hip Hop Appreciation Week in our holy days is written in our DOP as the 9th principle. Let's take this time to perform hip hop. Raise up the volume on your higher self. Perform more responsibility as how we've shown ourselves in the world. This is a global movement. This is hip hop movement. So jump up and move because it's meant to be moved. Represent your culture and stand up for your culture. Have the responsibility as a hip-hopper.
And with this awareness, and this is what it really is, the awareness of hip-hop, the awareness of what it's done, of what it's given us, of how it's lifted us up. This is the point. This is why we appreciate hip-hop.
During Hip Hop Appreciation Week, we encourage hip hoppers to rock a silver ribbon. The significance behind the silver ribbon is to bring awareness to our culture. Hip hop is culture. Silver stands for self, intelligence, love, vision, evolution, revolution. Happy Hip Hop Appreciation Week. Rock the silver ribbon. Peace.
Now, peace again. Welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. I am KRS-ONE, and you are in another session with the greatest hip hop organization on the planet, the Temple of Hip Hop. I'd like to thank you all for being here right now. It is a wonderful week. I'm just getting up. I know I might look a little scraggly right now. We was up all night with disco fever. It was wild last night. Disco Fever. Big up the Sal, the original owner and promoter of Disco Fever. I'm not going to give it to you all right now. Look it up. Look up what Disco Fever is about. Flash come out of Disco Fever. DJ Hollywood come out of Disco Fever. All type of Busy Bees and Lumbug Starsky. Matter of fact, Lumbug Starsky made a record at the Fever. Give you no breather. Hardcore. We were jamming last night at Lehman College. Melly Mel, Scorpio, Sugar Hill Gang. And it was interesting. I actually had a chance. Obviously, look, Joey True and Sun One are obviously professionals when they get to the gig. We have specific roles and responsibilities that we have to get to when we get to the gig to make the show happen. But yesterday was an apprenticeship moment. And I pointed it out to these two apprentices. There were others there as well. Obviously, Sun One and Joey True are walking with me at this moment. But there were other Temple of Hip Hop members there, old members, new members, people that just watch us like this, that were also there as well. It became a moment. It became an apprenticeship moment because there you have Master G from Sugar Hill Gang, just as an example. And he's going, I got a little face and a pair of brown eyes and a only hit it, make you hit the time and sing it on and on and on and on. The beat don't stop until the break of dawn. I said on and on and on and on. Rock, rock, y'all. Get on the floor. This was the moment. Sugar Hill Gang on the stage, ripping it down. People couldn't take it. Rapper's Delight is still banging in 2023. You throw on Rapper's Delight, party's up. Sugar Hill Gang ripped it with Melly Mel, Scorpio, a whole host of other people were there as well. I can't even drop all the names, really. Dudes came through. It was wonderful. Of course, KRS-ONE closed the show. I shouted out Sal, gave him what they call his flowers. I like to say his herbs, his roots and his herbs. But no, we gave him the respect right there because Disco Fever is such an important part. It's such an important institution within hip-hop's culture, within the development of hip-hop's culture. So I got these notes here. You know how we do. Just before we start, we are, and by the way, today as well, we are going to end our read of the Gospel of Hip Hop. We have courses that start tomorrow. You might have seen the little video advertisement we have there. You might have heard about it as well, May 8th to the 12th. I'll get back to that in a minute. But courses start tomorrow. And so we're going to end this course today. It snuck right up on you, right? So today, right now, we're going to read what is called the shout outs. And it's not really a lesson, really. It is on another level, and I'll get to that as well. But it's the shout outs now. It's the end of the gospel of hip hop. It's the end of our read. And we're now shouting out our culture, those that helped us get to where we got, at least as far as 2009 was concerned, are those that were helping us at the time. We shouted them out at the end of the book. We're going to do that today. But before we get to that, the announcements. So just so you know, okay, we regard August 11th, 2023 as a sacred day, as a sacred day. August 11th, 2023 is a Friday, and this is the agreed upon birth date for hip hop. If you're celebrating 50 years of hip hop, that means you're starting in 1973. And if you're starting in 1973, that means you're starting at Sedgwick. You're starting at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. You're actually starting on Sedgwick Avenue, which is not only 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, but it's also 1600 and the park there, and it's also Sedgwick Avenue, Cedar Park, which is also on Sedgwick Avenue, about a block or two down. In addition to that, Bronx Community College, if you go even further down, is also on Sedgwick Avenue. These are iconic institutional landmarks for the development of early hip hop. And of course, when we get into the 1520 and start teaching that course, you're going to get a more in-depth version of this. We will actually be there as well and might have to walk 2 blocks to Cedar Park as well as part of our course and class. But I say that August 11, 2023 is a sacred day because I want to make a distinction here. And the distinction is that we don't mind, meaning those of us that participate in hip hop, we don't mind others cashing in on hip hop or on the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And I say that respectfully. We don't mind that. And let me make the distinction on that. It's the 50th anniversary of hip hop. You're supposed to do something, create something, promote something. And this creation, promotion costs money. So it's all good. If you raising money, if you profiting off of the 50th anniversary, it's all good. Hip hop is supposed to prosper you. It's supposed to be a vehicle of peace and prosperity. Anybody with any sense would be throwing their own hip hop 50 something in their neighborhood, in your home, where you work, whatever it is. We understand, and you can raise money doing it. We understand that. We're all about that. But there's one day out this year that is a sacred day. It's August 11th, 2023. Now, this is not a day to make money. Not on hip hop's actual agreed upon birthday. But there's Yankee Stadium charging $60 to $200 a ticket for hip hop to celebrate its own anniversary. This is hip hop's anniversary. This is not our anniversary. This is not the anniversary of KRS-ONE or the anniversary of Kool Herc or the anniversary of this one or that one. This is hip hop's anniversary. It's hip hop that we are celebrating. So on this one day that we look at hip hop, for all that it did for us, how many careers it started, how many lives hip hop has saved, this one day is a sacred day, it's birthday. But you still have capitalists trying to cash in on hip hop's actual birthday. Now, we at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, the Temple of Hip Hop, we could have easily did our concert series or whatever we wanted to do on August 11th itself. We said, no, what we're going to do on August 11th, actually on August 10th, we're going to have an 11 o'clock vigil, so to speak, a prayer and meditation vigil, waiting for that 12 o'clock to hit. And there we will start our celebration at 12 midnight in meditation and prayer and visualization, what we learned of hip hop and what we want to see. We'll be doing that at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. Now, let me also add this, because this is a Temple of Hip Hop call. This is not really for the public. That's funny. But it's really a Temple of Hip Hop call. So, you know, I give you the most up-to-date information on what we're doing right now. I'm saying 1520 is where we're going to do that 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock vigil. But we could just as well do it at 55 Ludlow in Newark, New Jersey. We could do it just as well there. We picked, of course, 1520 because it's the 50th anniversary of hip hop. This is where we're celebrating. This is where Herc started. This is what it's all about. So we're over there at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue for that kind of vibration, so to speak. On August 11th, we're going to open the exhibit. Some of the exhibit is paid. It's a paid exhibit. You may have to spend $15.20. It is a paid exhibit. But as you know, you sign up 30 to 50 people at a time. On this day, just walk in and see the exhibit. Walk out. You walk in, you see the exhibit, you experience it. It really takes you about 2 hours. But in this instance, we're gonna have to run people through, like on August 11th, there'll be a lot of people in that area, in that vicinity. So you have to RSVP too, by the way. Keep that in mind as well. You can speed your RSVP up by going to hiphop50years@gmail.com. There's a website. There's a website also coming with that as well. Hiphop50years.com, but you can go to hiphop50years@gmail.com and leave your RSVP there so that you can get in on that day. Remember, 1520 is a residential building. People live there and so on. So we're not trying to have 100 people there making noise and banging on stuff. You got to come in 30 to 50 at a time. The space is limited. But this is where Herc started. And if you want to come, feel that vibe, get that knowledge, and walk off with a birth certificate from 1520, you may want to be down there on August 11th. But that's about it. That's about it. Okay, we're not trying to get millions of dollars, rape the culture on the birth. No, we're not doing that. Now, August 12th, like I said, we could have easily planned something on a Friday, but if you're a real promoter, you know that working people are working on Friday. Students got school. School, of course, is going to be out. But Friday is not the time to be throwing a concert, really. It's not really a successful time on a Friday, especially when it's going to be a lot of people in the area. The Bronx is already a traffic. It's traffic madness, okay? During the rush hour hours, it's already crazy. Yankee Stadium draws its crowds. People do it, they get there. But do you enjoy yourself? Are you really getting the culture? Or are you just being herded into a building, pay your money, see another show, and leave? If that's good, if that's what it is, then that's what it is. Yankee Stadium does have some good acts going up, though. I'm not in any way bashing or trying to say don't go or any of that stuff. No, we're not saying any of that. It's a great show. If you want to go and spend $60 to $200 on a concert, go right ahead. It's a wonderful experience from a concert point of view. But August 11th is a sacred day for our culture. And this is what we have to keep in mind. So what we did is we moved our date to August 12th, not because of anybody else, but because of what I'm telling you. Look, We're at 1520. We could do this any day. But we chose to put an exhibit up for August 11th at 1520, exemplifying the building and hip hop's 50 years from that jump off. The next day, the Saturday, the hip hop traditional, the cultural day. This is when we came out in the park, not on a weekday. We came out in the park for free on the weekend. So we're looking at the whole weekend, really, August 11th, 12th, and 13th. We're looking to be on Sunday at Bronx Community College for a huge sit-down, intellectual-based lecture on 50 years of hip-hop, again on Sedgwick Avenue. But we moved our concert date over to Saturday, August 12th, on that Saturday. And for all the reasons. First, if you're just a promoter, Saturday's the better day. Secondly, working class people are usually free on Saturday. Thirdly, it's a Saturday. This is where you want the community to come out if you're focused on the community. Now, our concert is a free community concert. What we're looking to do is shut down Sedgwick Avenue. We don't have our permits yet. We're pending permits. We're talking to the city right now, and they're on it as well. The actual permit woman, I won't give her name here, was at my concert last night. She was in there screaming at the FEMA, give you no breather, straight hip hop. But she's the one who runs the permits, straight up. And she's straight hip hop, Bronx native, is crazy. So at the end of the day, we're gonna shut down Sedgwick Avenue. Have a festival. The reason it's called a festival, actually I'm calling it the Hip Hop 50 Years Block Festival. That's the Hip Hop 50 Years Block Festival. It's a festival because we have multiple locations along this, along Sedgwick Avenue. As we close Sedgwick Avenue, there'll be vending. You know, we want the entrepreneurs of the city to be able to make some money as vendors. We like city services to come through. Blood donation, educational opportunities, COVID testing, all types of other domestic abuse hotlines. These trucks and services or tables should be out there. All activist communities in the Bronx, really in New York or anywhere for that matter, but I'm just focused on the Bronx right now and the New York area. But activists in the Bronx, activists in New York should be right there with a table, pushing our people forward. We're looking to bring a car show, and not just the hydraulic cars. Actually, if West Coast artists manage to come through, I'm talking to a lot of them now, but if West Coast artists manage to come through, I will have that lowrider. Oh, yes, I will. And we will be bouncing, no doubt. But we're going to have a car show. The car show, though, is we want to show the early cars that hip-hop, that got hip-hop around, the 190E Mercedes. Some of you don't even know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm going to go slow. The Audi 5000. The Maxima. Ooh. The BMW 325. Before the sedan version, the little box version, 325, and the 525 BMW. Before the big body sedan version, there was a small race car version. These are the cars we want to put out there so you can see what the early was. And to also see, like some of these cars I'm mentioning, the Jeep. How can I forget the Jeep? The Jeep Wrangler. These were hip hop's cars. This is the car you had to have if you was part of the culture. You see, this had nothing to do with the music and all that. This is what was going on the street. You already had your ride, and you took it over to Dapper Dan, and he put the upholstery in your car, Louis Vuitton upholstery in your car, and put a a hood on the back of your spare tire, Louis Vuitton cover for your spare tire. It was insane. It was what we were doing in the hood at the time. We want to show that right there outdoors. I just got word, Hakeem Green, Channel Live, who's also working at Car Show for us, came up with the idea of having a martial arts exhibition. Back in 1973, you hear me mentioning this all the time, and it's within the gospel, in our teachings in the gospel of hip hop, how important martial arts was to the development of early hip hop. You know, kung fu, martial arts, how important it was to the early development of hip hop. So Hakeem Green said, yo, what's up with a martial arts exhibition? That would be great. Show the kids, show everybody what it is. These are cultural events, not just somebody grabbing the mic and spitting their hit record to you. That's not how hip hop started. It started as a block party with martial arts, food, vending, people breaking, art going down, and some good music being played. So on hip hop's birthday, at least on its birthday weekend, on that Saturday, we want to recreate that as well. 11 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. We really only have from about 1 in the afternoon to 8 because you got to build it up and then you got to break it down. You know, the production. We're looking at 2 stages facing each other. We like to build 2 stages facing each other. Now, obviously, all of this costs money. We coming out of our pocket and we're asking our members to support this. That's how it's going down. Now, of course, if there's corporate sponsorship available, we'll take it. If anybody wants to put their logo, their name up, I mean, there's all kinds of little ways that a free concert can also cover its expenses. And we're on that as well. You'll hear more about it as we get further down the line to August. But I'm giving you the overall. And I'm giving you the spirit of it as well. When do we come back and give back to the people? Give back to hip hop as culture. Give back to the block. We all made millions. Everybody made millions. Companies, artists, this one, that one, producers, even the people that make, you know, CDs and the plastics and, you know, these tech companies, not tech, well, these audio companies, really, Techniques is what I was thinking of, is the turntable, Panasonic, Sony, you know, these people, billions made on the idea of hip hop. You mean to tell me one day we can't give back to the people? We can't give city services? We can't help the people on hip hop's birthday? In fact, hip hop started as a back to school jam. We were trying to raise money to go back to school with fresh gear and some books and pens. On this day, shouldn't we have 1,000 backpacks from all these corporations like Nike and Adidas and Reebok and all of these people that it's nothing for you, but it's a major thing for us up in the Bronx. 10,000 backpacks with all the school supplies in them, handing them out to young people. Just prove you're a student and you get this. Even look like you a student and you get this. We can't do that? Of course we can. And this is what the Temple of Hip Hop is achieving. This is what we're going to do. So I'm giving you a vision of what August 12th looks like. Now here's the vision of what's going on the same time, and not August 12th, but like I said, you know, Live Nation and Mass Appeal are at Yankee Stadium charging a ticket price on Hip Hop Sacred Day for hip hoppers to pay money to celebrate their own anniversary. I think that's unethical. So on Saturday, not so, but and so, on Saturday, we've already begun our planning. We've been planning this for a minute on that Saturday to have a free jam in the park, like we used to do. We used to go in the park and rock for free. And the people saw us, and that's how we started. That's where our respect came. That's where the authenticity came, right in the park, for free. The people know you could have charged for this, but you didn't. You came for them. Well, this is going to be a moment of respect check. This is going to be a cultural respect check, because after this, if we're doing a free jam at Cedar Park, and you call yourself hip hop and representing the culture and you ain't there, I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing. The justice will be obvious for yourself. It'll be obvious. On the birthday, and mind you, this is a historical day, the hip hop semi-centennial, the 50th anniversary. So what happens on it is going to go out for history. This is it. So if you're not in support of hip hop's culture, which now, here we are now. Here we are. We all talking culture. We all say it's for the culture. It's for the culture. I'm down with the culture. I'm with the culture. Well, now the culture is at Cedar Park. The culture is at 1520 Sedgwick. The culture is trying to figure out how its children are going to go back to real school without these supplies that they need to get an education. The culture is thinking about entertainment for the neighborhood, for people who can't afford our $60 and $200 ticket price. What are we giving back to the hood? What are we giving back to our people? We talk that street shit all the time until it's time to do something for the street, do something for the hood. So here's KRS, here's the Temple of Hip Hop, here's all the real hip hoppers too. Shout out to Redman as well. Shout out to Poor Righteous Teachers, Curtis Blow. Shout out to Grandmaster Kaz and the whole Cold Crush brothers. Big up to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Straight up. I mean, these are the people who are going to be there. We understand the culture. Shout out to Tony Tone. No doubt, Tone. I ain't forget about you in terms of the sound system. But these are the people who actually going to be there, the people who actually started the culture. Okay, did you hear what I just said? The people who are actually going to be in the park for free are the people who actually started the culture. So from here, this is where you become that cultural icon. This is where the respect goes down. When you could have charged, you didn't. And you brought that to the people, and they enjoyed it. And now for the next 50 years, you go down as a true hip hopper. You go down authentic. And I'm not saying this to try to convince anybody to support our event. We don't need that. You know that. But Chuck D, I don't even want to yell it out. I don't even want to say Public Enemy right now to get you excited. But my crew is coming. Okay? We coming. And we gonna break this down. Everybody else, they running for money. And I'm not dissing, like I said at the beginning of this. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. In fact, we support you doing it. But we are the temple of hip hop. This is the front lines of the culture itself. And now we can see who's cultural and who's corporate. No talk, no criticism, no judgment, just look. Just look and judge for yourself. What do you think is ethical? What do you think is moral, responsible, loyal? What do you think? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overthinking it. And we should just let anybody exploit the culture. Why? Because it's all about money. We live in a capitalist society, so let's just get this money, man. That's what it's about? Well, that bullshit is not here. That's not what we doing, okay? We ain't doing that. We sticking with the culture, and we mean it. And we mean it. So if you part of this movement, you know the sacredness of this day. You know the sacredness of the weekend, really, this whole weekend, and what we can provide to our people. Why they gotta pay every time. Every time we do something, you gotta pay. Nah, that's not how we rolling. That's not how it's going down. So August 11th, 2023, that's where we at. Sedgwick, the whole block shut down. We in Cedar Park. We in 1600 Park, which is probably going to be where the cars are at. Probably have a whole car show in the 1600 Park. Then, of course, 1520 has its exhibit as well. Even further down, there's entrepreneurs are washing cars. Been there for years, but we're going to blow that up, stretch it up a little more, and make it more. The whole block. Graph writers are coming to do their thing on that day. Big graph pieces going up. We coming out for our culture. Nobody getting paid. We're putting money in. We're appreciating hip hop. And that brings me to Hip Hop Appreciation Week, May 15th to the 21st this year. The theme is MCing. And you know, every time, well, last year, I mean, the theme was DJing. I'm sorry, breaking. A theme was breaking last year, and we wound up MCing anyway. I don't know if you recall that little studio session we had. But that was fun. We're doing it again. When I get a chance, I'm gonna grab the mic and just blaze y'all real quick in celebration of Hip Hop Appreciation Week. And I do these things as well because it's ritual. I appreciate hip hop. I appreciate hip hop. Hip hop made me wise. I'm prosperous in hip hop. I have peace in hip hop. So why not give back to this idea, which is most times celebrated within people. Most times it's like you want to do something for hip hop, do something for your brother, do something for your sister, do something for your father, your mother, if you want to do something for hip hop. But you could also just look at the idea of it and appreciate the idea of hip hop and say, man, that idea was a damn good idea. How do I appreciate that? Well, with the theme of MCing, I'm just gonna spit some more raw rhymes and just put them out, not charge you on some streaming account somewhere. I got that too. Matter of fact, make sure you're streaming KRS. We got that. But in this particular instance, where we're appreciating something, you know, you don't keep exploiting the thing you appreciating. You've already exploited it. That's why you're appreciating it now. Thank you for all that you've done. Now, this one day, I'm going to appreciate you. What do you need me to do? So Hip Hop Appreciation Week, you just saw Desire One, Desire Nobility, and Sun One talking about that as well. Of obviously, I was going to say go to the templeofhiphop.org, but we're redoing the site. Right now, upgrading it. You know, when it pops up, it'll be redone, or we're redoing it now. Announcement, just so you know what's going on in New York. These are all the pay dates. And this is great, okay? Don't take this the wrong way, that because of how we are approaching hip hop, that everybody needs to approach hip hop like this. That's not true, and I'm not even saying that. I just made my position clear. And what we're going to do with the Temple of Hip Hop and those that support hip hop culturally. But now here's the capitalist. Legends of the Street is going up. It's a concert series. LL Cool J has rocked the bells. I think that happens August 5th. Area 8 is Drake coming into the city to do his thing. Alicia Keys, shout out to Alicia. And Swiss Beats and that whole crew. In fact, well, I'm not gonna get into Swiss Beats history at 1520 and his father and Rough Riders and all of that. Look it up for yourself. But Alicia Keys is coming to break us down as well. Snoop and Wiz Khalifa is supposed to be here in the summer as well. 50 Cent tour with Busta Rhymes is also coming here as well. DJ Cassidy, Pastor Mike is also good. Look at the summer. Look at how many shows are going up this summer. Mass Appeal and Live Nation are doing Yankee Stadium. Hot 97 is still doing its summer jam. They probably put a 50 on it. WBLS, another radio station, classic station out here, is doing a Hip Hop 50 show at Madison Square Garden. Summer Stage, which is usually a Manhattan Central Park kind of thing in Brooklyn as well. Summer Stage is doing a Hip Hop 50 as well. And those are usually free. Summer Stage is usually free. It's out in the park. Lehman College we did last night, and that was Sal, Disco Fever in that sense. These were the for-pay gigs. And what we've been saying to promoters is, sure, let's get this money all year round. But this one day, this one day, August 11th, in fact, the weekend, can we give back just this one moment, these 3 days? Can we come and give the people something? You see how many gigs are going up, and all these gigs artists are getting paid. And we encourage that. We encourage that. But what day do you work for free? What day do you give back to hip hop? Even if you don't give back to us, when do you give back to hip hop? And when I say us, I mean the people of the Bronx, 1520 Sedgwick, the kids out there. When do you give back to us that started the culture? So if you're not going to give back to us who started the culture, who are you giving back to? Don't have to be us. Who? But you mean to tell me your whole deal is based on how much you can get from hip hop and you never think about giving back? Well, the justice of that is obvious. The immorality of that, the unethicalness of that is obvious. And this is why we are a temple for hip hop. We're not blaming anybody else. You ain't got to hear nothing we got to say, but this is how we run ourselves over here. We make that distinction. Now, speaking of raising money, so we are trying to raise money. We have an exhibit. We have expenses all day. And so, and I say, yes, we are trying to raise money, but not at the expense of our culture. No. We're trying to raise money for the culture. Okay? That means the cash got to come from somewhere else. Not always on the back of hip hop. Cash got to come from somewhere else. Now, me, I work for mine. You know that. I just did a gig last night. I work for mine. Okay? I take my money and I put it into the culture. I put it into the temple of hip hop. I spread it out according to other activists and other things going on. Like I had a brilliant meeting with the Hip Hop Boulevard. This is a whole other organization pushing Hip Hop Boulevard to change Sedgwick Avenue as a street name to Hip Hop Boulevard. So a whole organization with this. Working for free too, by the way. Let me not dwell on that. We're all trying to raise money. That's my point. So at some point, I am going to go up with a Kickstarter for our exhibit at 1520 and at 55 Ludlow as well. It's just basically the all-around exhibit, where we're hiring carpenters. Somebody gave me an estimate the other day for $130,000. Crazy. I said, look, we gonna have to work something out. But I'm not squawking at the number. We have to meet the number. These are real carpenters. I'm looking for the Disney effect, the Disney World effect. Hip hop's exhibit should be nothing less. Not no shabby exhibit because we couldn't afford it. No, we're gonna meet the number. And our exhibit is gonna be as professional as any exhibit you see in the world, probably more. Because we got B-boys and B-girls entrances as you coming in. We got renditions of artists performing. I saw my man Joe Conzo last night. He gave me a gift. Right. Joey, where's my stuff?
Yeah, you got it upstairs.
It's probably still in the car. You think it's in the car?
It might be.
You know what? Forget it. Because I'm live right now. But yo, Joe Conzo, shout out to Joe Conzo. He came yesterday and gave us a gift. He came with his book. He came with the photos. And he said, add this to the exhibit. It was quick. No, you can't text Simone. She's gone. Simone flew to California. She's ghost. Okay, we're stuck, guys. We're stuck. So I'll go get it later. I'll find it later. But I just remembered this from last night. You can see we ain't did that. We came in, went to sleep, woke up. Here we are. But no, big up to Joe Conzo. Shout out to Joe Conzo, famous photographer. Look him up. But he got the early photos, like with Martha Cooper and even Ernie Panicoli. No, I can't even put Ernie on this. I mean, Ernie is in this category, but Ernie is more 90s. He took 90s shots. These guys like Jamel Shabazz and Joe Conzo and Martha Cooper, they're shooting the 80s, 70s, 70s and 80s, what they doing. Ernie Panicoli picks up, hits you with the 90s, and others then come after that. But I saw Joe Conzo last night. We talk often, but I saw him in person last night, and he came with love and he came with support. And it wasn't about, again, yo, you got to pay me for this. He said, yo, whatever you need, let's just get this done. We got to do this. And that's the attitude that a lot of us are coming with. But I say that to say, the reason I mentioned Joe Conzo is because even though he coming like that, if you going to come like that, then I got to find your money, bro. I got to find your money. Right now, Joe Conzo's no joke. He gets money. Okay, for his photos and for the licensing of them and all of that. But here he comes and says, no, I'm hip hop. What we paying for? These are your photos. Let's get this going. We're going to make the exhibit. We're going to make it work. So wait a minute. If you come in with that spirit, I got to find your money right now. Because if I don't, you down. If I do, you down. So what difference does it make? Let's go try to find your money. So we're going to raise that Kickstarter for photographers like this, artists like this, that we can give them something. We're not trying to put, Cold Crush brothers on the wall of our facility and give them nothing for it. Even if we have a free exhibit, how they on the wall and didn't even get a G? Didn't even get $5,000. But we're going to use your image and use your legacy to blow up what we doing. And this is what people are doing. This is what these museums, this is what they doing. The artists that they have on the actual wall, they have no relationship with. They have no relationship with them. That ain't the temple of hip hop. The people that created hip hop, we have intimate relationships with all of them. And in fact, we don't even like them. That's how intimate it gets. Some of these motherfuckers are crazy, okay? Let's just establish that. But they're our brothers and they are our sisters. And we understand them. We are the culture. This is not I pay you, you pay me. This is not every day we just come to work and do a work. No, Monday you pissed off. Tuesday you cursing me out. Wednesday you my brother again. Thursday we at dinner chilling. Friday you got a beef with another. Yeah, it's family. But how many of us really take hip hop that serious? And that's what I want to talk about today. That's why we're going to read the shout outs today. Because how many of us are really taking hip hop serious when it's time to take hip hop serious? We all yelling culture. We all talking talk. But when it's really time to get Kid Creole out of prison. You know Kid Creole from the Furious 5 is in jail, right? For self-defense. He defended himself against some dude ran up on him. He juked him, killed him. Now Kid Creole from the Furious 5 is in prison. We can't get a free Kid Creole campaign going? What's up with my man's commissary? What's up? But we all yelling culture, though. No, we don't play that game here. We true to what we do here. And something has to be, or this culture is not gonna survive. It'll be like jazz and gospel and everybody else that could have been, actually was culture, was gospel. That was its own culture. Blues, that was its own thing. Jazz was its own thing. Rock and roll is like a conglomerate of all of that. But nobody woke up and said, we need to agree with one another on how we started. And it's not going to be the truth. It's not going to be accurate information. The truth is going to be in our agreement. That's the truth. Now, the facts, we will dig those up and do due diligence to get the facts and get the most accurate information. But the truth is that we have to agree. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. No disrespect, but history shows. If hip hop was just a music genre, we wouldn't have a start date. What's the start date for reggae? What's the start date for gospel? What's the start date for any of these music genres? The actual day where you can say, this is the day. Hip hop would have been the same way if the cultural architects of hip hop didn't make an agreement. We ain't no music genre. We're going to say August 11th, 1973. That's the start. Man, that ain't the start. That ain't true. You're right. But what are we basing this on? Well, you know, Herc and Cindy, Herc and Cindy are the recognized, the agreed upon fathers and mothers of hip hop. According to everybody who was there, including Gary Bird, who made a film called Beat This, which shows Herc as the father of hip hop. This was early Zulu Nation information. This was early information on hip hop that Kool Herc at 1520 Sedgwick is where hip hop begins. Some said 1971 it started. Some said 1972. That's when it started. Herc told me it started in 72. Others said 73. Zulu Nation cites 74. Who's right? Nobody's right. Or everyone is right. So if you're in a dilemma like this, which is basically how cultures are created, no culture has a start date. Unless you're trying to build one. Unless you're trying to build you think America started in 1776? What is that? July 4th? 1776. America started. No, don't get it twisted. But if you're trying to build a nation, you got to start a date. And the date is not accurate. That's what gives it its strength. Because the date's not accurate, but this is our faith. This is what's going to bring us together, an agreement. I'm giving up something to be here. What are you giving up? I know I started this. He didn't start this. I did. But for agreement's sake, let's say he started it. If we could get to that agreement that he started it, then down the line, I could show you that I started it. But if we don't have no agreement, you're never going to hear any of our stories. We're going to disappear like the music genres before us. And we're going to disappear as a music genre. Not as a culture, not as a nation, not as a community of people. Why? Because we couldn't agree. And this is the problem. Unity requires agreement. Unity is strength. We trying to make our culture strong. So we agreed upon August 11th, 1973, Sedgwick, 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, the community center. We agree with this folklore. Now we've agreed on the folklore. All the naysayers are nowhere now. All the videos and the books say, no, it wasn't 73, it wasn't. Now we're doing a 50th anniversary. How did that happen? Well, it happened because we have an agreement that hip hop starts in 1973. We have an agreement. Now, within the agreement, I could pull out the information that shows you, oh no. Hip hop did not start in the South Bronx, it started in the West Bronx. But if you don't get the South Bronx first, you'll never get to the information on the West Bronx. Nobody made a song called West Bronx. Nobody popularized West Bronx. I made a song called South Bronx because that's where I was living at the time. And all the people I shouted in the record, except for Herc, really except for Herc, lived in the South Bronx. Started in the South Bronx. Flash, South Bronx. Zulu Nation was all through the South Bronx. All that. Tats Crew, everybody, Rocksteady. That's all South Bronx. Herc and them are West Bronx. So you see how the scholarship works. We can start with South Bronx. That's the calling card. South Bronx. The South, way back in the days when hip hop began, which is the beginning of our shout outs too, by the way. That's South Bronx. But after now, you heard the record, you're inspired, you get a little history lesson, you hear some names. Okay, now if you want further information, if you want to become a scholar, now you come to the Temple of Hip Hop. And we quickly tell you, the record was cool, but it wasn't accurate. Let's get down with the accuracy. Let's pull out some of these names. I breezed over, way back in the days when hip hop began with Copla Rock. We just breezed over that. Cool Herc and then bam. B-Boys ran to the latest jam. Not hip hop. It wasn't called hip hop then, it was called a jam. See, all of this little intricate stuff is what the scholar pulls out. And knowing this raises your self-worth. As a scholar, it raises your self-worth. Once you know this and can articulate it, you could go and charge $3,000 as a start for a decent hip-hop lecture. 3 G's. Anyone should be staying at that level. Don't undercut all of us. Stay at the 3G level. And charge 3 G's for your lectures based on what the knowledge that you're getting here, especially those that are coming to the course. Let me go forward. With raising money. So during Hip Hop Appreciation Week, I got a bit of a dilemma. It may breeze by, but here's what the dilemma is right here. So most of Hip Hop Appreciation Week, we was going to have at the Temple of Hip Hop. There was of course some classes and courses being held at 1520. In fact, we were going to have our MC session at 1520 Sedgwick, the birthplace of hip hop. We was going to have the raw MC session go down there. In fact, there's a workshop that Time Journey was actually getting ready to do. Matter of fact, let me just read you her flyer real quick for Hip Hop Appreciation Week, and I'll get back to what the dilemma is. This May, BDP.1 is taking over the first Friday during Hip Hop Appreciation Week, May 15th to the 22nd. We are putting together an all-day hip hop workshop for the students of the Temple of Hip Hop and other hip hop scholars at 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. We are hosting a Bronx parking lot cipher for BDP TV. Then we go over to the 1520 Community Center for a special hip hop lecture by a special guest speaker. We are reaching out to you to ask if you would be interested in being the speaker for, and then this was asking a variety of teachers, if you wanted to be a speaker for the hip hop lecture. Below you will find the details of the full workshop schedule. So it says hip hop workshop breakdown. The cipher begins at 1:15, cipher ends at 3 o'clock, so on. But what happened now is that in my scheme to hustle and make some money, I ran into Columbia Pictures. I know all kinds of people, but I ran into this dude. I won't give his name here, but he's a location scout for Columbia Pictures. And I showed him the Temple of Hip Hop. He had a movie he was doing. I showed him the temple. And I said, yo, can this work? He blew his mind. He said, of course this can work. We was looking for this. This is exactly what we need. They want to make a hospital scene or something they got for some big budget movie. So I said, look, he knows all about the, exhibit, all the stuff we doing. I said, look, this would be great for us as well. We're trying to raise money, and that's a nice bag too, by the way. Columbia Pictures, they want to rent out. And here's the dilemma now. They want from the 15th to the 29th. That's the whole Hip Hop Appreciation Week, and it's gone. But the bag is dope. That's hot. So I got this dilemma. There'll be a movie set, hopefully, at the temple shooting some new movie with some actor you probably know. He told me names. I didn't. I have my notes written somewhere else on that. But a big movie with Columbia Pictures. But you also get to see also how the Temple of Hip Hop can raise money for itself without bleeding the culture. We have a full 23,000 square foot space. And movies are being shot. People need the space. We don't rent to everybody. It's our temple. But when it comes to things like this, like a movie space or even our gym, we have a huge gym, holds, at least 1,500 people. There may be tournaments and, for pay tournaments that go on. People want to, get their basketball on or get this thing on. The temple should be there for the community to be able to raise those funds for the community. We don't need nothing from that. As well, the community should be able to raise those funds. And likewise, we should be able to raise our own funds with that space as well. This is part of that. This is part of that. I'm trying to bring Columbia Pictures into the Temple of Hip Hop space, grab the bag so that we can continue our exhibit. And all of this is not for profit. It has to be. I can't grab the bag and put it in my pocket as much as I would like to. That can't even happen. But, so we're showing them all type of not-for-profit and foundations and this kind of stuff, to make it clean too. And you want that. You actually want that. You want the transparency. You want to see where the money coming and where the money's going. So that's Columbia Pictures. Now, I say that to say that, we'll still have access to the building, but there'll be a movie set in it. So we might be in some little room somewhere conducting what we got to do in our own facility because we grabbing this bag right now, is what it is. Or we go somewhere else. Like, for instance, we was going to have our temple dinner, like the one we did last year with Hollywood and Barron and all of them. We was going to have the same dinner again, but at the temple, because we have tables, we have chairs, we could cater it, all of this type of stuff. If Columbia Pictures comes into this, we got to go and rent a room, like, at Maggioni's Italian restaurant or, one of these spots that, something elegant, something nice, but we got to rent out a room where we could be served and give our lectures and speeches, have our event like that. So that's what I'm saying. I'm up in the air with it right now. They're going to give me an answer this week, see what it is. In another breath, I'm not hoping that it passed, but it's cool if they do say, it's too much time, we last minute, because this is next week, So it's like because that was another contingency that was last week. It's next week. So if in fact they do that, if in fact they can't do that, that's better for us too. So we have access to our temple again. We could get, we can be in there doing what we need to do for ourselves during Hip Hop Appreciation Week during that time. That's good for us too. But if in fact we grab this bag, then we get squeezed to a small room, or we ain't even in the temple at all. We're over at 1520 Sedgwick, and we're renting out restaurants. We're having our meetings and courses and classes at Sedgwick, and then having our dinners at some elaborate restaurant somewhere in New York. We'll converge on some restaurant in New York. Tomorrow, May 8th to May 12th, is the beginning of our 1520 Community Center master classes. As you know, these classes are for hip hop cultural specialists. They are the courses that are also for the exhibits curators, hosts, etc. And so we'll be training and talking that up. Those of you that have sent in your tuition, or actually, I'm sorry, those of you that have registered, you have gotten a course outline already. If you haven't, inquire to get it. You've gotten a course outline explaining all 5 days, how we're doing it as well. Make sure your tuition is in. Make sure your tuition is in. The courses start tomorrow. Some of you have already applied for scholarship on that. Make sure your scholarship application is in and you've met the requirement as well. The courses start tomorrow. We have day courses. Obviously, like I said, Monday to Friday. It's a 5-day course, Monday to Friday, 3 hours per day, maybe a little over based on questions and answers and stuff like that. But the actual course is 3 hours. 3 hours per day. The morning courses start at 11 p.m. Sharp, 11 o'clock sharp, and concludes at 2 p.m. May go over because of questions, answers, and light discussion. But once you've taken the 3-hour course and your attendance is taken, you've officially taken the course. Like I mentioned also, night courses begin at 7. Day courses are 11 to 2. Night courses is 7 to 10. Tuition begins at $499. Basically $500 per student. Temple members pay half that, $249. And by the way, just so you know, the reason why Temple members are paying half is because the first 2 days of this course, you already heard it. If you're a dues-paying member of the Temple of Hip Hop, you've already been through the 9 elements, basically the definitions. You've been through an introduction to hip hop. You've already seen the master class. What we're doing here is this is a whole new student group that's coming in. They've heard nothing. So we're starting them from the very beginning. What you have already heard, and really not to the depth that you have heard it. You'll notice I'm going to be very surface. But I got to run them through the spellings of hip hop, the 9 elements, why we're at 1520, this kind of stuff. So that's why it's half price for Temple members, because about 30% of this knowledge you already know. But you got to attend if you want this particular accreditation. $5.99, and like I said, $4.99 full price. $249 half price for dues-paying Temple members, and of course, thanks to a grant provided by Morgan Stanley and Small Axe Entertainment, 2 companies, Small Axe Entertainment and Morgan Stanley, bankers, financial advisors. Morgan Stanley, they heard that I was doing this and provided a grant toward the masterclass for scholarship and so on. And the scholarship is basic. It is, because they're not providing a whole lot of money. But I'm grateful for every dime that comes in, and they did give a bag big enough for me to shout them out, no doubt, and provide scholarship as well. You got to meet the requirement, and like I said, the scholarship is basic as well. Keep in mind, I'm doing this publicly, so I got other universities and other colleges looking at me in this sense. So I'm running it kind of like standard academic style in that way, but not. This is hip hop as well. So you put a premium on the course and on the tuition. Of course, that's how teachers and their institutions eat. So don't just abuse the scholarship application as well. Those that have paid their tuition, full price tuition, as well as those that have paid their half price tuition, there are free gifts for those who have paid the tuition. And this is why, this is how these tiers begin. begin, and we'll manage it to make sure everybody is treated fairly. But according to academic standards, those that pay tuition, they get the free gifts of the course. The free gifts that come with the course, with this particular course, is it starts off with a flash drive. That will have the master class on it. Those with the temple that have seen the master class that we produce, the visual master class that we produce. We took it down because we're starting these courses. That's now becoming a valuable piece of information. We had it up for free for a moment. Hope you saw it. Now it's part of this course. And so those that pay their tuition, part of the gift is that you get the master class course. You also get the booklet, the Introduction to Hip Hop booklet. I hope you can see this. Yeah. The Introduction to Hip Hop Masterclass booklet as well.
On a flash drive.
On a flash drive. I held up the booklet. But you get that booklet on a flash drive. And you also get the PowerPoints that I'm going to be showing at 1520. You get the PowerPoint so that you can give the lecture as well. Those that are on scholarship, these items are on sale individually. If you want them, you can pay for them. If you don't want them, it's not necessary. And it's not necessary for you to be accredited as well. You just have to attend the course. And when I start asking you questions, you start answering properly. Once we see that, you are accredited. These other gifts are helpful tools for the hip hop cultural specialist that wants to teach this course wherever they are. So you want to teach the course, so you want this flash drive as well. There's other gifts, little trinkets, things like hats, shirts, hoodies, this kind of thing. 1520 is coming out with its own hoodie, coming out with its own t-shirts, this kind of thing. You get all of that as a tuition-paying student. Now, sorry to say, those that are on scholarship don't get all of this. And I laugh because as a hip-hopper, it is funny. No, you don't get all of that. We're running this, like I said, as an academic course, and I'm staying within the guidelines of who gets what, according to just certain standard academic. Everybody don't follow this same trend, but you will recall, or you will be reminded of this kind of offer from other institutions. Yes, if you come in for free, then everything else is a cost to you, but you do get the free course. Absolutely. You get the same knowledge that everybody else is getting, but you come in on scholarship. That means everything else you have to pay for. Those that pay their full tuition, all of what I just mentioned is in the tuition cost. So they've already paid for it. And that one course, that one $499 gets you all of that. That one $249 also gets you all of that. It's worked in to the course. That, I think, is it. Yes, it is. So with that, I reach now for my gospel, reach now for your gospel of hip hop, and go all the way to page 819. That's page 819 of the gospel of hip hop. This is the conclusion. I was trying to get to the Temple of Hip Hop to give this conclusion, but it didn't work out like that. And so, and for good reason. It worked out like this. It worked out like this. And what does it mean to work out like this? Meaning that I'm here at my Jersey house We still have our Atlanta house, but I'm here at my Jersey house here. And because, we're planning and doing our work. So I am stable. I'm not on the go. I'm stable here. So I'm going to read, when I get stable, I read the gospel. We only divert from the gospel when we are traveling. But now we're here, and we're at page 819 of the Gospel of Hip Hop. This is the actual end of our read, and I'm bringing this to you now because we are coming up on a new course. So I'm ending this one today. I'm reading from the shout-outs. Way back in the days when hip-hop began, with Coke, La Rock, Kool Herc, and then Bam, B-boys ran to the latest jam. But when it got shot up, they went home and said, damn, there's got to be a better way to hear our music every day. B-boys getting blown away, but coming outside anyway. They tried again outside in Cedar Park. Power from the streetlight made the place dark. But they didn't care. They turned it out. I know a few understand what I'm talking about. Remember, Bronx River, rolling thick, with cool DJ Red Alert and Chuck Chill Out on the mix. When Africa Islam was rocking the jams. On the other side of town was a kid named Flash. Patterson and Millbrook Projects. Casanova all over. You couldn't stop it. The Nine Lives crew. The Cypress Boys. The real rock steady taking out these toys. As odd as it looked, as wild as it seemed, I didn't hear a peep from a place called Queens. It was 76 to 1980. The dreads in Brooklyn was crazy. You couldn't bring out your set with no hip hop because the pistols would go pop, 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 pop. So why don't you wise up, show all the people in the place that you are whack. This is a battle rhyme. This is back to the battle part of it for those that are reading this out of context. This was a battle rhyme. And I'm back to the battle. I gave a little history lesson, and then I came back to the battle. So why don't you wise up, show all the people in the place that you are whack? Instead of trying to take out LL Cool J at the time was battling the person that I'm battling, MC Shan. LL, you need to take your homeboys off the crack. Because if you don't, that means their nerves will become shocked. And that would leave the job up to my own Scott La Rock. And he's from the South Bronx, the South Bronx. The Gospel of Hip Hop is not an advertisement of new ideas. It is the documentation of ideas already in action. By studying and teaching the gospel of hip hop, true hip hoppers raise their self-worth and become serious teachers, scholars of the hip hop arts and sciences. In addition, the gospel of hip hop sets the foundation for hip hop's spiritual independence and culturally organizes hip hop's already growing international community. Now let's highlight that. This is our first highlight. In fact, my notes here, why don't we go ahead, let's highlight all the way down, let's highlight 7 to 9. So it's that last sentence on 7. I'm sorry, on page 819, paragraph 7. And I'm just going to read it again. We're highlighting it all the way down to paragraph 9. You're going to highlight 9 as well. And you'll see why. Those that those that have been studying with us, you know that when the gospel of hip hop is being explained, we highlight that. Whenever we're giving meaning to what we are doing, we highlight that. So here it is. The gospel of hip hop is not an advertisement of new ideas. It is the documentation of ideas already in action, meaning that from 2009 going back, this gospel here is what people were already thinking. Not everybody. It wasn't the majority. It was just a large group within hip hop was saying we are community. We're a culture. We're a nation. We could do more with this. We are the children of the civil rights struggle, the Black Power movement. This is what can we do with hip hop? This was not the all of hip hop, but there was a large group within hip hop that was already thinking about a gospel and hip hop from a spiritual point of view and a socio-political revolutionary point of view and an academic point of view. We used to call ourselves teachers. Shout out to Poor Righteous Teachers. Shout out to Big Daddy Kane, who called himself a teacher early on. In fact, the principal. In fact, if I recall correctly, Kane had a rhyme that said, if rap was a school, I'd be the principal. Oh, fuck it. The Kane is invincible. So now I'm going to hold him to that. As the school opens, Kane has to be the principal. See how your words come out? Okay. Anyway, so these ideas were already discussed and talked about. Shout out to the 5%ers as well. They were already discussing this. Zulu Nation was already discussing this. Harry Allen, Rhythm Cultural Institute, was already discussing this. Hip Hop Congress was trying to organize around this. The Hip Hop Coalition. These were organizations. These are not rappers and we're performing. These were organizations that were springing up to educate and organize hip hop culturally. We just had no book, no nothing. It was just talk in our community. It was an idea in our community, even a character in our community. By studying and teaching the gospel of hip hop, true hip hoppers, notice that's a term now. True hip hoppers, those that were with us last year, 2022, you got your true hip hopper certification. True hip hoppers raise their self-worth. This is the key. Self-worth and become serious teachers / scholars of the hip hop arts and sciences. In addition, the gospel of hip hop sets the foundation for hip hop's spiritual independence and culturally organizes hip hop's already growing international community. See, this is cultural organization and spiritual independence. That's why we're highlighting this. What is the gospel of hip hop? Cultural independence and spiritual liberation. Ugh. Spiritual independence and cultural organization. Paragraph 8. This gospel of hip hop is the first of 3 instruments. Mastery, did you hear that? This gospel of hip hop is the first of 3 instruments. We have 2 more of these to write. Mastery of its overstandings remains the only authority needed to teach hip hop. Mastery of the overstandings of the gospel of hip hop is the only authority needed to teach this. The gospel of hip hop presents a rigorous course of self-improvement leading to personal reinvention. That's all. I should say, that's all, that's it, that's all, single, no more, no less. I should come with, that's all. Like, don't try to make this more than what it is or less than what it is. Or the Temple of Hip Hop ain't nothing. That's just some old KRS that, nope, sorry. This is about a rigorous course. We're putting forward a rigorous course of self-improvement through hip-hop, which leads to personal reinvention. Personal reinvention. You're here to improve upon yourself through hip-hop. That's all. It's not less, yo, this is just, nope, it ain't more. Yo, this is the Illuminati. Yo. Nah, it's not, you're making too much of this. It's not up, it's not down. It is right here. And that's why we're highlighting it. The Gospel of Hip Hop presents a rigorous course of self-improvement leading to personal reinvention. That's all. Self-creation is the center of our ministry. Did you get that? Self-creation is the center of our ministry, and it took many years to arrive at this conclusion. Many people contributed to the creation of this instrument, this one. Many people contributed to the creation of this instrument, the Gospel of Hip Hop, which represents the best and most authentic hip hop minds of my time. Therefore, and that's the end of our highlight. Therefore, at this time, I would like to thank those people and organizations that intellectually and creatively influenced the creation of not only this Gospel of Hip Hop, but also the establishment of hip hop and the temple of hip hop itself. The following names should be studied and remembered. These people either shared ideas, assisted, or inspired KRS in some way, or gave direct information that helped to establish this gospel for hip hop. In the tradition of our culture, it is at the end of a project that one gives a shout out to those who assisted directly or indirectly to the completion of the project. Therefore, with sincere gratitude, let us take this time to first acknowledge the old timers who influenced in one way or another the creation of hip hop itself. Let us acknowledge those who helped us to flush out and articulate God's vision for hip hop culture. Those, and look at the spelling of hip hop culture. Those whose names and or work may never be mentioned in the so-called histories of hip hop, and look how it's spelled, but whose contribution and participation has made hip hop's existence possible in the world. Shout out to the original breakers, poppers, lockers, b-boys and b-girls, the dynamic breakers, the nigga twins, Mr. Bubbles, Don Camelot, Pee-wee Dance, B-Boys in Action, the Beat Street Dancers, Sal Soul, Sal Soul, Electric Force, Mr. Freeze, Boogaloo Shrimp, Shabba-Doo, Poppin' Pete, Crazy Legs, Mr. Wiggles, Pop Master Fable, Rock Steady Crew, Pop-O-Matics, New York City Breakers. Now here, this might be an error. I'm still doing research on this. The Herculords. Now the reason it might be an error is because Herc's sound system was called the Herculoids, L-O-I-D-S, the Herculoids. But I was doing research and I think there was a breaking crew that I came across called the Herculords. And I'm looking for my research now in that. But when I was reading over the gospel, I looked at that and I said, is that a specific breaking crew? Because I got it here as a breaking crew, as part of a breaking crew. But is that an error? So just underline Herculords and put error next to it. We got to research that. If any of you can research that as well and find out, was there ever a breaking crew called the Herculords? The LA Breakers, Demons of the Mind, Float Committee, Dennis Vasquez, the original Rubber Band Man. All these names I mentioned too, have huge histories in hip hop. The Crazy Commandos, the Electric Company. These are also the names that mainstream rap music has left out of hip hop's history. And it's a shame because without these, the people I'm mentioning to you right now is hip hop. This is who got their culture, their cultural ideas taken from them. These are the people who first established hip hop as a community, as a way to be, as a style. And it's these people that I mentioned their name, you're like, wow, who? What? That's the crime against our culture. The Crazy Commandos, these are breaking crews. The Electric Company, Fred Rerun Berry, Tyrone Hamlet, aka Lockatron, and the Breeze Team. Shout out to the original MCs and MC crews. Coke LaRock, I-Roy, Jamaican artist. U-Roy, Jamaican artist. The Last Poets, the Cold Crush 4, before they were the Cold Crush Brothers. The Romantic Fantastic 5, Funky 4 plus one more. Keith Cowboy, in particular. Kevy Kev, the Soul Sonic Force. Mercedes Ladies, the Treacherous 3 MCs. Jimmy Spicer, we also know better known as Super Rhymes. Pebbly Pooh, Shock Dell, the Disco 4, Ramel Z, Curtis Blow, I was with him last night. Queen Lisa Lee, The Cosmic Force, Divine Sounds, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, The Furious Five, The Get Fresh Crew, DJ Hollywood, Lovebug Starsky, Kumo D, The Galaxy Crew, Busy B, The Force MCs, Spoonie G, Run DMC, LL Cool J, The Beastie Boys, MC Shan, UTFO, Double Trouble is in the house. And let me also say this. I'm not just shouting names here, too, by the way. This is not a shout out to people we don't know or a shout out to people that we don't understand what their contribution was to this work. Remember, we're shouting out people that helped with this work. Double Trouble, Too Short, Just Ice, Tila Rock, Big Daddy Kane, Chub Rock, Digital Underground, the whole crew, Lord Finesse, Eric B. and Rakim, Cool G Rap, Ice-T, Boogie Down Productions, beside myself, Leaders of the New School, A Tribe Called Quest, Tone Loc, Supercat, Poor Righteous Teachers, Salt and Pepper, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Dana Dane, Third Base, Shinehead, Audio 2, The Ghetto Boys, Two Live Crew, Sweet Tea, Heavy D and the Boys, MC Light, Gangstar, Shabba Ranks, Public Enemy, Jazzo, MC Mitch Ski, Stetsasonic, Roxanne Shante, Brand Nubians, The Jungle Brothers, Schoolie D, X-Clan, Special Ed, Ultramagnetic MCs, Niggas with Attitude, Tiger, reggae artist, Major Mackerel, reggae artist, Yellow Man, reggae artist. These dudes helped us out, helped the culture out, okay? You don't remember, see now they don't even play reggae like they used to back in the days, but Tiger? I'm thinking of his songs now. He's crazy. Tiger, Major Macro, that high pitch. These were Supermen. Yellow Man, he actually did a record with Run DMC. I think it was the first hip hop reggae record, technically, that was laid down. It was Run DMC and Yellow Man. Houdini. I was with Grandmaster D last night, DJ for Houdini. Master Ace and the Boogie Boys. Fly Girl, Fly Girl, Fly Girl. We used to hang out in Latin Quarters back in the days. This is where we're getting our knowledge from. I took a word from these people. They showed up to the meeting, some of them. I took something off their album, off their record. Most of them we have direct relations with. These are the people that helped.
Let me cut in real quick. Cold Crush 4 should get underlined. Literally, Tony Tone on the phone yesterday said that was bullshit. Because he started it, he said that's leaving out the DJ.
No, wait a minute. You have to say that louder so you pick up on. We're getting fresh information from Tony Tone just last night. Son One.
Yeah, straight up and down. Yesterday on the phone, Cold Crush actually mentioned the Cold Crush 4 and said that that title was bullshit. Obviously, he created the Cold Crush Brothers, and that essentially by calling it the Cold Crush 4, you're leaving out the DJs.
Yeah.
And so, no. And also, Herculords is our Mad Flyers. It's
Herculords.
Lords. This is the name of the crew.
A crew, a breaking crew, so it's not
No, not a breaking crew. This is DJ Kool Herc, his MCs. They show up, and DJs. They all show up as a Herculords.
Ah.
And so then the system
is the Herculoids.
Is the Herculoid.
Right.
Yes.
So did you hear that? The Kool Herc's sound system, which was actually auctioned off at Christie's, was called the Herculoids. And there was a breaking crew, or not just a breaking crew, but a DJ, MC, and breaking crew. Right?
Yes.
Called the Herculords. So this is not an error, and my research was correct. I just couldn't find the research you're bringing up right now. It's so funny, you just found it.
Yeah.
I'm not a computer guy. I need to get more savvy. But good, just so you know. And wait a minute, Cold Crush 4, let's underline that. And make that note, Cold Crush 4, because I'm going by, again, the research. You can see Cold Crush 4 early on. Later on, it becomes the Cold Crush Brothers. I even think there was a Cold Crush 5. And then, because I hear so much, I think it was a Cold Crush, I think we heard something.
Well, this is where Tony Tone says no at certain times when the group was in arguments that no, it started off as the Cold Crush Brothers.
Okay.
The cats they tried to leave and ended up coming back.
Right. So every time they make a move, the history of hip hop changes.
Yeah.
They get into an argument. We the Cold Crush 4 right now.
Right.
So now flyers go out. You the Cold Crush 4. Y'all get back together. Are we the Cold Crush Brothers again? I was just saying this too about how culture works. How you brothers, you arguing on Monday, we back together on Wednesday. But you can see in real time how that has affected the accuracy of the history of hip hop. I hope you guys are taking this in. There is a Herculords and a Herculoids.
Well, I still believe I'll look it up, but I believe Herculoid is the name of Herc's sound system.
That is the truth. I did confirm that. But again, no, let's make sure, and you out there as well, look at how we're studying. Look at this. This is a live study right now. And I would hope also that you guys bring this up to when we do our courses and classes. If you have information, verifiable evidence of information based on what we're studying, you can always step up and say, wait, that might not be accurate.
We'll see. The Herculoids was a cartoon.
When?
Back in the 70s.
Oh, right. So he probably just took it from there.
Yes, he took it and called his system the Herculoids.
The Herculoids. So Herculoids now, see, Sun One's going in now on the research, and the Herculoids is now a cartoon. We're looking now at some cartoons.
Which looks like a prototype for He-Man.
Right, looks like
Man, but yeah.
He-Man. It's like the precursor to He-Man.
Right, that's what it looks like.
Herculoids.
But obviously, we have to do further research. Actually, watch the cartoon.
Right.
And all the above.
And look at also what's influencing us as teenagers. What we seeing on TV, what we hearing on the radio, what's around the neighborhood. And here now, Herculoids, a cartoon. Herc must have been eating Lucky Charms, sitting there and getting his head squeezed with this. And how many of them,
Yes, right. It says right here, rap history, hailing from the Bronx, MC, there's a picture. Says MC Public, who got recruited to rap alongside Kool Herc's pioneering Herculoids sound system.
Right. Right.
There it is, some live learning.
Live learning, and I hope you guys took notes on that. I'm adding that to our curriculum now.
Right. Malik One says Herculoids was a 1960s Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Right. This is what we're talking about. Do that research. This is a think tank. Come on now, think. Let's continue. I'm on page 822. Shout out to the original graffiti writers. Cornbread from Philly. Takey 183. Super Cool. Phase 2. Stay High 149. Band 2. Frank 207. Peanut 2. A Peanut 2. Chi 133. These guys was up everywhere. Sony 107. Sunny 107. Barbara 62. Eve 62. These two chicks you want to look up real quick and get the history. Case 2. This dude alone came up with the computer rock. The way we just look at letters now. I'm surrounded by graph. Imagine these was somebody's style. Imagine somebody came up with like these styles that I'm just behind these. People came up with this. And others took it and embellished. Some stole. Some couldn't even come up to the mark. But these people that I'm mentioning here are the ones that started everything. You're never going to hear about them. That's why they're in the gospel of hip hop. And that's why their names are remembered forever. So you can look them up. Case 2. K 161. That's CAY 161. Butch 2. Stitch 1. Stick 1. Hash 161. El Marco. Pray. Dudes don't remember Pray. Pray used to scratch. I think it was a woman that was doing this, a homeless woman. Don't quote me. But whoever Pray was used to scratch their name into the subway. And this scratched Pray was everywhere in the subway. everywhere. And even some places in New York. You wonder how this person get everywhere. Little Pray. And it was always scratched, never written. It was scratched into the wall. It was a scratch. Let me find Pray again in my writings, because Pray was crazy. Tracy 168, the artist that actually did Wild Style, the actual letters to Wild Style. Tracy 168. Pre-Sweet. Pre-Sweet was king. The Rascals was his crew. Flasher was also part of the same crew. And Flasher worked in the shelter that I was in. He was a security guard in the same shelter that I was in. And I caught him writing Flasher in the bathroom. And as a security guard, and that's how we became friends. Flasher, if you out there, what up? Scheme. And see, each one of these names, Scheme, is in Star Wars. I mentioned this in the gospel. I ran into Scheme in El Paso, Texas, at a Barnes and Noble. He had like 6 kids with him. I'm running through trying to get a book. We screaming in the middle of Barnes and Noble. This is like 2003 or 4 somewhere. And we knew who each other was. It was like, yo, what's up? And he had his kids. I was there. It was like, and it was crazy. It was Scheme, the original Scheme, who was arguing with his moms about graffiti and Star Wars. Scheme. Is the Wiz, another one. Dondi. Ramelzi, again, I mentioned him as an MC, as a B-boy, mentioned him here as a graffiti writer. He was also an MC and a DJ, Ramelzi. Mitch 77, Futura 2000, Scene. OE. OE was huge in Brooklyn. Cap, Morris Park crew. Med, same crew. NOC, Nation of Creation. Comet, used to write with Blade. Well, here it is, Comet. Pink Lady.
Lady Pink.
Lady Pink, not Pink Lady. Lady Pink. Blade. Zephyr. Zephyr made me a plate. We was in a restaurant somewhere, and we happened to be in the same restaurant. This dude comes over, yo, KRS, I'm Zephyr. I was like, what, Zephyr? He went back to eat, I was eating. About 5 minutes later, he put a Zephyr piece on a plate and sent it over. The restaurant couldn't do nothing. They didn't even know what to do. He wrote on their plate. He had markers on him. He did like a 3-color piece on a plate and gave it to me. And I gotta find it. I was in my storage somewhere and I'm doing an exhibit and I have an original Zephyr piece on a plate, on a restaurant plate that you eat on. And I took the plate with me. I gotta find it. But that's Zephyr. Amazing artist, amazing artist. I think Zephyr's into furniture now. You know, like Mayor over here. Here's Mayor over here with the furniture, with the this is Mayor's art too, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw that. But this is Mayor. This is how graffiti writers are coming now. Okay, this is how they doing it now. So I'm even gonna get into Mayor. Let me just continue on then. But you're just making me think though. This is just reminiscent these graph days, man. Okay, so that's Zephyr. So Crash, Kel, Duro, Rose, Days. I just commissioned a piece from Days. He's doing phase 2. Kaz, Ket, OBD, I'm sorry, OBE. Chico, the original Chico. They used to do Harlem. All the storefronts of Harlem, Chico used to do those. Stash, Stem One, Chaos, Gusto, Chain 3, Quick, Ace, Mac, Lee, Heist, Kel 139, Dez, big up the DJ K Slay, Desi Dez, Rasta, Junior 161, G-Man, T-Kid. I was with T-Kid overseas in France. He ran up on me. T-Kid. Coke 2. Quick, the other Quick. Revolt. Bio. Mare over here. Dream in San Francisco. Riff. Dean. Claw. Twist. Bizarro. Giant. Zor. Rican. Mace. Maze. Nasa. Cat. Crane. Brim. BG 183. Crack. Fat Joe. KR. Delta. Papa 184. Sharp. Revs. Cost. Miser. Easy. Josh. And Vulcan. I don't think I mentioned Nisa, but I'm going to add Nisa to this because Nisa's my man, and he is supposed to be there with BG and Brim and Bio. I don't think I know I mentioned Bio somewhere. Maybe not. Huh?
I don't see it.
I don't see Bio.
Oh, Bio's next to Revolt before Mayor.
Yes. Okay.
2 lines up from BG 183.
I see it on the corner.
And I also think you skipped a line.
Which one?
I think you said Chain 3 and then Quick. And somehow I think you jotted down. I don't remember you saying
We said Coke 2.
the Ace, Mac, Lee, Heist.
Yeah, I said
You
those.
said it?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm bugging.
I said both Quicks. So Quick, Q-U-I-C-K was a Quick, and Q-U-I-K was a Quick. But I did say it. Ace, that was my graffiti partner in the group home with Zor. Mac was down with Tat's crew. Lee, the famous Lee from Beach Street, is it? And Heist, Kel 139. Dez is K Slay. And also Rasta and all of them. I would add Nisa as well. Shout out to the original DJs. Cool DJ Hurt, Mandingo, El Marco, Elvis 007, DJ Africa Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash, the Smith Brothers, DJ Maboya, Grandmaster Flowers, arguably the first Grandmaster, Johnny Thunderbird, Pete, DJ Jones, DJ Plummer, JoJo, Lovebug Starsky, Wiz Kid, Mr. Magic, DJ Wanda D, DJ D, Mean Gene, the Disco Twins, Disco King Mario, Grand Wizard Theodore, was with him last night, DJ Eddie Chiba, DJ Jazzy J, Africa Islam, DST, now DXT, and D.ST means Delancey Street. He's I think the first DJ, hip hop DJ to receive a Grammy. because he did the cuts or worked on the song called Rockin' It by Herbie Hancock. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Rockin' It. No. That's Phyllis Ford. Rockin' It. Just rockin' it. No, Herbie Hancock's rocking it. Let's make sure I said that right. DST, DXT, DJ Charlie Chase, DJ Breakout, AJ Scratch, AJ. Actually, that's Curtis Blow, DJ. DJ Stevie Steve, Lady B, DJ Marley Marl, DJ Chuck Chill Out, Cutmaster DC, Special K, Teddy Ted. I saw Teddy Ted last night. DJ Red Alert, who was with us at 1520 at the press conference. DJ Scott LaRock, always. DJ Cash Money, Half Pint. DNA, Hank Love. That was WNWK back in the days. What you got?
Rocket.
Rocket by Herbie Hancock. Make sure y'all look that up. Herbie Hancock, Rocket, DXT or DST was supposed to be the DJ on that and won the Grammy.
Grand Mixer DXT.
Grand Mixer DXT. This is a cultural document. We call him DST. But Grand Mixer, why don't we put that in? And actually make sure that Grand Mixer DXT is what it was when Rockin' It came out.
Yes, that's what it says on this, featuring Grand Mixer DXT.
Okay, we might have to go back and look at the actual credits of Rockin' It. You know, because people have changed their names since then. Anyway, I'm continuing. So, DJ Stevie Steve, Lady B, DJ Marley Marl, DJ Chuck Chill Out, Cutmaster DC, one of my first DJs. We did Brooklyn's in the House together. Cutmaster DC, Special K, Teddy Ted, DJ Red Alert, DJ Scott LaRock, DJ Cash Money, Half Pint, DNA, Hank Love. They all go together. They was one crew. Half Pint, DNA, Hank Love. Back in the days, WNWK, AM radio. This is where hip hop started. Craig Mack, DJ Kid Capri, Mixmaster Ice, DJ Scratch, DJ Brucey B, Jam Master J, DJ King Tech, and DJ Sway. Tim Westwood, DJ Kenny Parker, DJ Khaled. Y'all don't know, but back in the days, DJ Khaled was part of the Temple of Hip Hop. In Florida, he actually had a show called The Temple. Go back, look at DJ Khaled. Shout out to DJ Khaled. Back in the days, he had a show called The Temple, and it was modeled after the Temple of Hip Hop. I even went there and rocked to give it the credibility and rock with the MCs as well. And I guess it worked out for him. DJ Premier. I ain't got to get into my relationship with that dude. But shout out to DJ Premier and Gangstar. Big up to Guru as well. DJ Jazzy Jeff and DJs Max and Dave. That's out in London with Pirate Radio. Back in the days in the 80s, London only had 4 stations. So if you wanted to hear hip hop, you had to listen to Pirate Radio. Pirate Radio was illegal radio broadcasting stations that was just broadcasting the dopest music you can imagine. But if you got caught, you went to jail for that. You was breaking the law in England. They had 4 stations. And if you didn't get your record played on only one of these stations, only one of them played urban music. The other 4 was something completely different. But the one played urban music only on the Friday and Saturday. So if you did not get in on that mix, and it was Tim Westwood was the DJ, if you didn't get in with him and others, you was not heard. So we, of course, cultural. We went right to the pirate radio stations. Even if you do interviews on these stations, you could be arrested because they knew where, it was illegal. We stayed on pirate radio. Every time I went to England, we was pirate radio, okay? There's a reggae song, a huge hit. I think it's called the Pirate, I don't know what it's called, but it's Pirate Radio Anthem or something like that. But it used to go, them call us pirates. They call us illegal broadcasters just because we play what the people want. And that beat was and it was the vibe of what pirate radio was. Just because we play what the people want. That was the line right there. And they call us illegal because we playing what people want. And we led that whole movement. We was down with that. And now, of course, Max and Dave. That's what I'm saying. Is Max and Dave was the pirate radio. They was running. We were running together. One time we did an interview. Again, I ain't gonna get into it. One time we almost got busted doing an interview one day, illegal. We running, doing the interview, running with the broadcast equipment, getting in the car, switching locations. They tracking us. Crazy. The people were going crazy in London for it as well. Pirate radio was huge in England back in the days. Everybody in England, you know what I'm talking about. If you're listening to me right now, shout out to your pirate radio days because that's when it was real. And shout out to DJs Max and Dave back in the days. These DJs are now huge DJs. Everything's legal now. You're getting money underground. Here comes corporate. It's not illegal no more because we want to get some money too. So you're not illegal no more. So now all these guys got jobs now. The bandwidth is opened up, and so on. Shout out to the original beatboxers, Doug E. Fresh. And I think his name is spelt wrong here. I think it's Dougie because in the song, he goes, I'm the D-O-U-G-I-E Fresh. And I'm known for the not for the human beatboxer, the entertainer in the show. He says, I'm known as the D-U-O-G-I-E Fresh. I've seen it spelt both ways, but I'm just bringing light to this just for accuracy. We're looking it up right now. Let me continue. Oh, there it is, Doug E. So it is accurate.
That's what's listed up here.
That's what's listed there. But he never spelt his name like that before. Is that the new?
Yeah, and his Instagram says Doug E. Fresh.
So then that's it. We got to ask him what that E means. You should call him right now. Anyway, all right. So shout out to the original beatboxers. Doug E. Fresh. Bismarcky, rest in peace. Greg Nice. Greg N-I-C-E. The original Greg Nice. DMX. The original. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I'm reading this wrong. Shout out to the original beatboxers. Doug E. Fresh. Bismarcky. Greg Nice, the original DMX, Eminem. The original DMX was a beatboxer with Just Ice. He's the one who does the beatbox on the record, LaToya. Come on, clap your hands, LaToya. Eminem, this was one of the dopest beatboxers ever. I think he got strung out on crack or something. Don't quote me on that. That'd be horrible if he wasn't. But I think it was something happened in the hood with him. That's why I'm saying it like that. But again, an extraordinary artist. And somehow the hood swallowed him up. I think maybe he went to prison or something. Something happened. And Eminem was no longer seen or heard from again. But I remember him. K-Love. She had the record Expect a Gadget. These records were huge, huge records. These are the records that was defining the vibration of hip hop throughout the 80s. And that was K Love, a beatboxer, female. Human Jock Box, the Fat Boys, Rozelle, Drez, the Beatnik, out in Atlanta. What up, Drez? And Click, the Super Latin. Shout out to the original hip-hop fashion entrepreneurs. Dapper Dan, Rashad, Ron Michon, Creative Fashion One, Jew-Man, Cross Colors, Carl Kanai, Fubu, Fat Farm, Miyoshi, Sean John, Mark Echo, ENYCE, and Lugs Footwear, or just Lugs. Lugs helped sponsor the UN when we went to the United Nations to declare hip hop an international culture. Lugs Footwear was the only corporation that supported us. Remember that when you wearing your lugs. Special recognition goes out to Richard Pryor, the Wayans brothers, Chris Rock, Kid and Play, Adele Givens, Martin Lawrence, Sinbad, Tracy Morgan, Chris Tucker, Monique, Arsenio Hall, Dave Chappelle, and Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. Shout out to the original hip-hop motion picture classics, Wild Star, Beach Street, and shout out to Harry Belafonte, rest in peace, for Beach Street. Crush Groove, shout out to Sal from Disco Fever last night on the Beach Street, on Crush Groove. Some of the actors were there last night too. Star Wars, Rhyme and Reason, New Jack City, Breaking, Boys in the Hood, Slam, Rapping. There was a movie called Rapping. Stomp the Yard, The Freshest Kids, Menace to Society, Five Sides of a Coin, House Party, Do the Right Thing, Fresh, Juice, Thug Angel, Colors, 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 Colors. I am a nightmare walking. Ah, that was the dopest rhyme. I am a nightmare walking. Get your bars up. Ice-T is the man all day. But colors, 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 colors. These are movies you gotta watch. They're not just in the book. Make sure your eyeball has seen every single one of these movies, because these movies influenced hip hop. This is what we was doing. This is what we was watching. This is what we felt like. Colors, 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 colors. Dogma. It's a hip hop movie. Dogma. Train Ride. Bullworth. I'm gonna get you, sucker. Tougher Than Leather. Belly. Brown Sugar. Scratch. Beef. Paid in Full. The movie Paid in Full. You Got Served. Bomb It. 8 Mile. Crime and Punishment. I would also add Beat This after Crime and Punishment by Gary Bird.
I can do Jack of Spades.
Jack of Spades, what?
Well, I'm gonna get you, sucker.
No, what's the Jack? What?
Is that part of the soundtrack?
Yeah, no, I mentioned I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Yeah, but you didn't rhyme none of the lyrics.
Oh,
Now they need it.
again we start. Well, let me say my part. I'm not the only guy who has some. Nah, come on, see now you put your 20 back in your pocket. I don't need the admission price right now. You can get it for free. I'm gonna get you, sucker. So, Crime and Punishment, and this movie came out, but it never really got no light. But it was a dope movie by Peter Spire, the same one who did Rhyme and Reason. Add Beat This to that list. Shout out to the gospel of hip hop's intellectual and spiritual contributors. Akronologist Simone G. Parker, Christine Alexandrian, Jacqueline Parker, my mother, Professor Z, Minister Server, Jacinth Rashid, Victor Quinones, Vanessa Shakur, Morgan Wells, Chris Malcolm Parker, my son, J.P. Wingate, Chief Rock the Busy Bee, Eric D. Anderson, Ings, which is Ingrid P. Rios, Bert, Apostle, Red Cloud. And Apostle, Apostle is the one who came up with hip means to know and hop is movement. At a temple seminar that we was giving in Denver, Colorado, he came forward with this revelation. I, of course, flushed it way out since then, but it was a mention as part of his lecture, how hip means to know and hop is movement. And then he went off into something else. I caught that at the temple. It's like the teacher was learning at the temple. And I want to say that because that's what a temple is. Sometimes the teacher sits down and listens to the apprentice, listens to the student come up with new views and new ways of looking at things, or tweaking something from the past that might not have been correct or incomplete. We need this. We need this kind of engagement. So I just mentioned Apostle real quick from Denver, Colorado. Red Cloud. This is a Hopi Indian citizen. When we were dealing with hippie and Hopi, I went to the Hopi Nation. Shout out to the Hopi Nation. Got the book, started reading their calendar. It was Red Cloud that first turned me on to 2012 and said, yo, according to our calendar, this is over. And I started, we started doing our 2012 research. But that's Red Cloud. Shout out to Red Cloud from the Hopi Nation, indigenous population.
Is there supposed to be a space?
A space after?
Between Red and Cloud?
No, that's how he spelled it. Red Cloud. That's how he did it. And that's specific. That's right. Normally it would be a space, but nope. That's how he said do it. Malik One, who will also be in our course this tomorrow. Malik One, DJ Scientific, Janine Amini One, Drew D. Hansen, an author who wrote a scathing book, not scathing, but a really good book on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And the reason he's here is as an intellectual contributor. I never met Drew D. Hansen, but his book, we quoted it in this book, so much so that he had to get mentioned, not just as, I give him the credit where I wrote it, but he has to get mentioned also as an intellectual contributor because of the influence of his book on this book. Dr. Wayne W. Dyer, rest in peace, but this is another metaphysical self-help kind of guru speaker. Look these guys up, look them up, and get their work. Mundo One. Mwezi Mtoto. Mwezi Mtoto. She's an astrologist, did our whole chart, helped us with starting hip hop in 71 to 61 to 71, 71 to 81. She was one of the astronomers, I should say, but she does astrology, that I referred to. Mwezi Mtoto. Kim G. Chakra Ma'at Wells. She's a Reiki healer. Scott Ritter. He was the first UN chief inspector when America first went into Iraq. The UN sent in inspectors to see if Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. Scott Ritter is the one who went in, looked at everything, and said they don't have nothing. This is bullshit. They got rid of him, dissed his name and everything, and got somebody else in there to say, no, he did have something. We think he had something. Scott Ritter, I met him on the Queen Mary going to England as I was sailing. He was selling a book and doing a book tour that he wrote a whole book about his experience and basically was trying to expose the lie that was being told about the Iraq war. And he wrote a whole book, what happened to him and what they did. I already had the book, but I didn't have it on me when I was on the cruise. Scott Ritter was right there signing fresh copies of his book on the cruise. Me and him immediately hooked up. After about 2 glasses of the cognac, we was talking crazy, and he influenced what we wrote here. Keith Tucker, another influencer, supposedly a descendant of the first Tuckers. John Tucker is supposed to be the first African-American born on American soil. You know the story. 1619, Jamestown, Virginia. 20 Africans are supposed to get off of a Dutch ship and get to Jamestown, Virginia. They're immediately sold into slavery. All of that is bullshit. But at the end of the day, there's a guy named Keith Tucker who, well, I should say John Tucker, like after these 20 Africans are in America, one of them, the Tuckers, have children or have a child. And this child is called John Tucker. And so from John Tucker is supposed to be the whole lineage of African Americans. This is so silly and stupid. But there was a John Tucker, and they were free people in Virginia, which is why we put Keith Tucker in here, because his story, which his story contradicts everything that we've heard so far about Africans in America and the 1619 story and the whole slavery story. You let him tell it. It's a whole different ball game that was going on, and he influenced this work as well. So I have him here as an intellectual contributor. Last but definitely not least is Minister Zinaru, who, as we was writing this, had a lot to say about the creation of the gospel of hip hop. Put down sacrifice as well, Minister Zinaru. Put down sacrifice, grew within the temple, and so on. An intellectual contributor. So shout out to our wise advisors. These are people that advised us as we was hitting this, as we was doing this book. Harry Allen from Rhythm Cultural Institute and Public Enemy. Chuck D, obviously Public Enemy. Big Daddy Kane, Speech, Grandmaster Kaz, Popmaster Fable, James M. Tume, Juicy Fruit, amongst a slew of other hits. Shout out to James M. Tume and rest in peace. I think he passed. Hakeem Green from Channel Live, working with us right up to this very moment. Ernie Panicoli, photographer, I mentioned him earlier. Wise Intelligent from Poor Righteous Teachers. Dr. Tashambe Walker. Jason, the Druid. Nas, The Black Dot, Elemental MC from Atlanta, Nehanda from the All African People's Revolutionary Party, Kwame Ture, Doug E. Fresh, hard-hitting Harry DeJanet, Lisa Chase Patterson, both of them are from Meridian Entertainment. They did the publicity for the UN when we was at the UN. And Craig Cohen, who's the publisher at Powerhouse Books, who published the gospel. Will Luckman, Rio Mochazuki at Powerhouse Books. These are the last ones. And Craig Cohen, Will Luckman, and Rio Mochazuki at Powerhouse Books. Shout out to, a special shout out to Inebriated Beats, Shauna, Clyde One Lane, Maury Winkler, Dr. Barbara King, Hillside Chapel and Truth Center Incorporated, Tree, rest in peace, Harold English, Byron and Makisa Woodard, J.D. Kramer, Ralph McDaniels from Video Music Box, saw him last night too. Free. This was a young woman, good friend, conscious woman, one of the first BET hosts when Rap City first came on the air. Her name was Free.
106 in Park.
106 in Park. Sorry, 106 in Park. Now, I might know her from rap. Not from Rap City. Rap City came first.
Yes, with Tiger.
With Tigger. And then what? But I'm even going back to the mayor of Rap City was another dude. Oh, my scholarship is off now. Okay, we'll get back to that. Free, by the way. SP Magazine, who printed the first Gospels of hip hop and then let me hold the bill for like 2 years. I think the bill wasn't paid. It was a big bill. And they let me inch it off over a 2-year period for the printing of the first, Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. The ones with everybody's face going around it. It says Declaration of Peace and the 18 Principles. Well, SP Magazine printed that for us, and we didn't pay them. We didn't have the money. At the time, it's a big bill. And so I had to inch it off. Big up to SP Magazine. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum. I was the keynote speaker when they opened it up to hip hop. Actually, when they opened, and it was hip hop. The Bronx Museum. Kevin Powell, who I did an interview with the other day. Hip Hop University, which never happened, by the way. It's just somebody heard me say Hip Hop University. I'm not going to call no names. You can look it up. But the minute I said, I'm opening the school, about 10 other people started trademarking Hip Hop College, Hip Hop University, Hip Hop this and Hip Hop that as a school. And none of them did nothing with it. Like, on your spare time, look up the word, like Google search the word hip hop college or University of Hip Hop or this kind of thing and see what comes up. Hip Hop University, The Guardian Angels, T-Bone, Cross Movement Records, BBJ, The Point, which is a facility, tax crew facility. Fashion Moda, old school, grab spot fashion. Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg. These are just shout outs now. These are not people that influenced us. These are just us shouting these people out that their names are in history because of their influence on hip hop. Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, Reverend Al Sharpton, although we did meet and we did have several meetings, hip hop related meetings at the National Action Network in Harlem. Big up to Reverend Al Sharpton, who's also attended our meetings, just all around hip hopper. Al Sharpton, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Dr. Jamal Bryant, preach black man, Harry Belafonte, Charlie Ahern, who did Wild Style, and Harry Belafonte, who did Beat Street, Ego Trip Magazine, Hip Hop Connection, these are both magazines, Lauryn Hill from the Fugees, Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, Missy Misdemeanor Elliott, who I think is being abducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well.
Inducted.
Already?
No, inducted.
Inducted. I said abducted.
Yeah.
She's being abducted. She's being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Mike Goldberg, the Latin Quarter nightclub. Bow Wow, Lil' Kim, Eminem, 50 Cent, Def Comedy Jam, Def Poetry Jam, Amanda Shear Demi, Ted Demi, Jonathan Demi. These are friends of ours as well, by the way. A lot of these people are not distant from us. It's just that they're getting a shout out here. It's really Ted Demi and Jonathan Demi gave advice toward this book. And I can even say Amanda, she was a club promoter as well. She's more of an influencer on the culture, but I've had direct conversations with Ted Demi and direct conversations with Jonathan Demi, two different on two different levels. But these are the people who are advising. Ted Demi started Yo MTV Raps. He's the creator of Yo MTV Raps. And Jonathan Demi is a movie director. He did Silence of the Lambs, Philadelphia, Manchurian Candidate, whole host of movies. He was one of my good friends. He passed now. Both of them passed, as a matter of fact. But he was a good friend to the family, good friend to hip hop too. When we called upon these men, they were right there. So they get their shout out with respect right here.
Heal.
Huh?
Human Education Against Lies.
Human Education Against Lies, the HEAL movement. That's Jonathan. Well, it's both Ted Demi and Jonathan Demi was part of that. Matter of fact, go just look at the making of the HEAL video. You can look it up online, and you'll see them both working with us, frontline revolutionaries, to bring hip hop together as culture. The Apollo Theater. Shout out to the Apollo. Lana Thai Restaurant. That is a forever shout out because it doesn't exist no more. And we knew that it was not going to exist. But I wrote the gospel in that restaurant. I would go there, order some seafood something, because it was a Thai restaurant. So you can get the pao Thai, you can get the po Thai, all this stuff, the noodles, you know, and the seafood soup and all of that. So I used to sit there, get the soup, and they say, "What are you writing? What are you?" And I said, "I'm just trying to put together." I had notes on the table. I'm taking phone calls. And I was like, they said, "What are you writing?" I said, "I'm writing a gospel for hip hop where people, you know, I got to put these notes together. I got to get all these people's opinions in." And the waitress was offering opinion as well. Well, I think, and I would take it. I was taking advice from everywhere because really it's God that was moving the writing of this. This is not just, it can't be just about my opinion. It has to be the community's opinion, the culture's opinion. And that's why this shout out is here, because these are all the people that influenced this particular work. Lana Thai Restaurant. QD3, Quincy Jones's son. QD3 Entertainment. Def Jam, the company. And In Living Color. Eternal gratitude to Joan Hubbard, Jackie Helps, Luz Delgado, Time, Isaac, Chris, and Randy Joseph Parker, DJ Kenny Parker, The Liberators, Oz One, Doughboy, back in the days with the Temple, Michael Boris, Tembisa Mshaka Morris, Karma 360, Saul Williams, Jeff Campbell, Dee Cochetta, Atlanta Temple member, rest in peace, Dan 1113, BJ Wheeler, DJ Time E. Tim, Penny Marshall. Watch the movie Laverne and Shirley, or watch the sitcom Laverne and Shirley. Well, Shirley is Penny Marshall, major producer, director, but also a friend. David Kahn, Fat Joe, Tavis Smiley, Rod Goddess, Erica Ford, Smooth B, Rampage, The Beat Miners, Mr. Walt, Evil D, Keith Clinkscale, Steve Smith, Dora One, Blue, Nelson George, Bakari Kitwana, Busta Rhymes, Dr. Cornel West, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, Cindy, Herc's sister, Craig Henry, John Schechter, Jay the Sultan. He created the Source magazine, and he was one of my early MCs from Harvard. Agape Spiritual Center, Jadakiss, Bishop Clarence E. McClendon, Reverend Dr. James A. Forbes, Jr., Reverend Mariah Britton, Reverend Lorraine Parrish, Dr. Adam Clark, Larry Price, Eddie Maldonado, Dr. Priya Parma, Dr. Keisha Key, Chuck Kim, The Nation of Islam, Judy Duncan, The Ribbon International, The Five Percenters, Free and Accepted Masons, I God, rest in peace. Chuck Turner, saw him just last night. Thorell, I Born, Concrete Mike P, we're just here. When I was listening to my neighbors across the street, I wondered if they needed me. Tybidi, Cyanide, Exhibit, Roscos, United Crowns, Willie D from BDP, Delroy Hutchinson, better known as ICU, Tree, again, rest in peace, Gizmo, just saw him last night. He's over at BM's Bronx Community College. We're going to be doing something there for the 50th. The Dungeon Family, United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. Peace Action, DJ K. Slay, Icy Ice, Lucky Lou, and the Beat Junkies. Boot Camp Click, Buckshot, Black Moon, Drew Ha, Smith & Wesson, Helter Skelter, OGC. Will Randy Bannister, Homeless Nation. Alan Grunblatt, Marlene Dominguez, S.H. Fernando Jr., Kim Osario, Sahida Page Brown, again, QD3, B-Boy B, Gato and Pito, Luna Empire, what up? Florida makes some noise. Metaphor, Wesley Powell, Kiana Charles, Zoe Whitley, Tommy Smith, and John Carlos. The 1968 Olympics, the dudes who put their fists up, Tommy Smith and John Carlos, they forever get the shout out. Shout out to the Stop the Violence movement. Ann Carly, this is the Stop the Violence movement. Ann Carly, Ralph McDaniels, Vanessa Shakur, Hakeem Green, Sister Shy, Chris Parker, Kenny Parker, Kurt Nice, Jaja, Reekin, Dougie Fresh, D Nice, Heavy D and the Boys, Just Ice, MC Light, Wise.
No, MC Delight.
MC Delight, here to state the bottom line that black on black crime is way before its time. MC Delight, Wise, Daddy-O, Fruit Quan. This is Stetsasonic. Miss Melody, my first wife, rest in peace. Public Enemy. King T, Body and Soul. Def Jeff, Michelle A, Tone Loc, Above the Law, Ice-T, NWA, JJ Fad, Young MC, Digital Underground. These are all people working with the Stop the Violence movement. We're moving over to the West Coast. That's why I'm mentioning their names. This is the All in the Same Gang group. Digital Underground, Oaktown 357, MC Hammer, Easy E, Kid Capri. Back to the East Coast. Big Daddy Kane, Freddie Fox, LL Cool J, Queen Latifah, G Simone, DMC and Jam Master J, Salt and Pepper, Chuck D, Ziggy Marley, Shabba Ranks, DJ Red Alert, Michael Stipe from REM, Billy Bragg, Fab Five Freddy, Jonathan Demme, Ted Demme again, Nelly, Styles P, The Game, Method Man, Busta Rhymes, Talib Kweli, Rod Digger, Wise Intelligent, Dilapidated, I said dilated peoples, not dilapidated peoples, dilated peoples, one of the greatest hip hop groups out, but they laid it down, dilated peoples. Neo, R&B singer, Young Guru, Buckshot, Lil Mama, D-Dot, Cassidy, Naughty by Nature, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Tony Touch, Tony Toca, Lil AJ, Beast, Vex, Sadat X, Lord Jamar, Chip Fu, T. Smith, Matt Smith, and many others too numerous to mention here. But that's the Stop the Violence movement, All in the Same Gang, Human Education Against Lies, and then the 2009 Stop the Violence movement that we did again in 2009. All of them were mentioned here. Shout out to the popular rappers and rap groups of my time. Thanks for the support. These are the groups that supported us, you know, in word, showed up to a concert, something like this. Shout out to the popular rappers and rap groups of my time. Thanks for the support. 50 Cent, Lil Wayne, The Lox, Bow Wow, Kanye West, Jay-Z, 3 6 Mafia, Outkast, Mano, Soulja Boy, Joel Ortiz, Jim Jones, Ludacris, Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross, Talib Kweli. Oh, wait a minute. I'm doing a record with Jim Jones. I'm going to go ahead and shout that freestyle with Jimmy. He called me the other day. I think I'm going to jump on that. Jim Jones, Ludacris, like I said, Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross, Talib Kweli, Fat Joe, Wyclef Jean, Common, and Foxy Brown. I had something to do with these people when I was writing this whole thing and it was going down. They were in support in some shape or fashion. Shout out to Scott LaRock for my first big break into the music business. Said G for my first home-cooked meal as a homeless man, and for some really fly production on Criminal Minded. And MC Shan for my first real battle with a real MC. Without them, I would never have been heard. Do you understand that? Thanks, guys. May their children and their children's children's children be blessed forever. Thanks, guys. Thank you. This instrument draws inspiration from the lives and thoughts and actions of Nat Turner, Frederick Douglass, Alexander Crummell, John Jasper, John Brown, Harriet Tubman, Henry McNeil Turner, Ida Bells Wells Barnett, Noble Drew Ali, Helen Keller, George Alexander McGuire, Marcus Mosiah Manassas Garvey, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Kwame Ture, Florence Scovel Shinn, Medgar Evers, George Washington Carver, Paul Robeson, Booker T. Washington, Edgar Casey, Elijah Muhammad, Huey P. Newton, Bayard Rustin, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. To these great prophetic teachers, we owe our very lives and the existence of our freedom. Don't ever forget this. Every true hip-hopper should know and celebrate the legacy of these great prophets and strive to walk like them. And even if the world forgets, we shall forever honor our fellow hip-hoppers who gave their lives as examples and lessons for the rest of the hip-hop community to learn of the traps and obstacles of the streets. Upon their sacrifices, we have built the folklore and principles of our culture. Matter of fact, I want to highlight that. Let's get that. I'm going to read it one more time, because this kind of sums up the work too. This kind of sums up the hip-hop preservation work. This attitude sums up the work. And even if the world forgets, we shall forever honor our fellow hip-hoppers who gave their lives, did you hear that? Gave their life as examples and lessons. That don't mean you died either, but that you lived a life that we can learn from, or you ran into tragedy, or you came into some victory that we all can see. We learned from your life. You gave your life up as examples, lives as examples and lessons for the rest of the hip-hop community to learn of the traps and obstacles of the streets. Upon their sacrifices, we have built the folklore and principles of our culture. That's it. Upon their sacrifices, we have built the folklore and principles of our culture. We commend this instrument in remembrance of Scott LaRock, Paul C., Buffy, MC Trouble, Trouble T. Roy, Punkin, Soulski, Keith Haring, Mercury, TDC, Keith Cowboy, Mastodon, Sugar Shaft, Prince Messiah, Dondi, WizKid, DJ Junebug, Eazy-E, DJ Pink House, DJ Rock, Tupac Shakur, Notorious B.I.G., Big L, Big Pun, B-Dogs, Michael Griffith, Clip 159, Daryl C., Richie T., Kane 1, Disco King Mario, Freaky Ty, Sane, Grandmaster Flowers, Ray Sean, Kuriaki, Buck 4, Top Cat 126, Stim 1, DJ Junebug, Stretch, DJ Rob 1, Sub Rock, Bigger B, Dream, Ty, Marlon Brando, not the actor, the rapper, Leslie Pitts, Poetic, Weldon Irvine, Alea, Kenny K, Lisa Left Eye Lopez, Matthew Hall, Ted Demi, Jam Master J, Old Dirty Bastard, better known as Osiris, Santuki Williams, Justo, Proof, Professor X, James Brown, Curtis Mayfield, Isaac Hayes, Frosty Freeze, Pimp C, Randy Hubbard Parker, Is the Wiz, Michael Jackson. I'm adding Black Rob, Shock G, Biz Markie, and DJ K. Slay. We shall forever remember their contributions to the cultural development of hip-hop, and we shall forever call their names with respect. For this is the reason we do what we do as a temple for hip-hop. We have not forgotten the struggle or our places in it, nor have we forgotten the conclusions, revelations, and goals of hip-hop's historic summits, conferences, and meetings. However, none of this could have been possible without the undying support and loyalty of specific activists like Mundo One, Peter from SP Magazine, Crazy Legs, Professor Z, Grandmaster Flash, Big Daddy Kane, Dougie Fresh, Tony Touch, Larry Gold at SOBs, Roxanne Shante, Freddie Fox, DMC, Chuck D, Dr. Cornel West, Apostle, Buckshot, DJ Premier, Daniel Power, Suzanne Koenig. That's German, and I forgot how to say it. Konig, Koenig. Sarah Rosen. These are the people at Powerhouse Books. Wes Del Val, Chaz Requena, Ashley Polikoff, Daoud, Tyler Amin. Daoud is the one I worked with for the editing of this. Daoud, we was on the phone for months. Orkin Benley, Tammy Tammy Imnoin, Kiki Ball, Vivian Morissette, Mike QP or QP Psy Tucker, Craig AC Mathis, Jaja Shakur, Kurt Nice, Mine Suda, Jenny Gianna, Jenny Gianna Chen, Amy LaBar, Jenny Luden, Brent McCarthy, Jenna Luden, Brent McCarthy, Ariana Barry, Mad Lion, Hakeem Green, Africa Bambaataa, Pee Wee Dance, Cool DJ Hurt, and all of their families and managers who stood beside KRS-One, even as the world doubted the vision of a sustained spiritual hip-hop nation. May their children and their children's children be blessed forever. It is in remembrance of all these hip-hoppers and their brave activist parents, grandparents, and ancestors that we are inspired to commend to our community this instrument entitled The Gospel of Hip Hop, that the revelation that sparks all true revolution be restored in the minds of our people. Peace and much, much love, my people. There it is.
There it is.
The Gospel of Hip Hop is read. It has been read from cover to cover with explanation and a few concerts in between. I want to thank you all, those of you who have read this entire gospel with us. Look at mine's beat down. You know what it is. I can only show you the back. There's no more front. There's no front. It's gone. Your gospel should look the same way. And I want to thank you all. Just thank you all for joining me on this adventure. It's been about a 2-year adventure, maybe 3. We got to get the exact date. I'll get back to you on that. But we are closing this course, and tomorrow we open a new course. And we'll be opening new courses as we go forward. I hope you see that this was no joke. This was no joke, how we read and where we started from. Go back and look at the lessons. Go back to the very first one with us in a house that Son One rented, some house in Atlanta, and we set up shop. You don't remember? We had a little spot. We was trying to set it up. Then we went to the garage, the basement. We was in our garage, we was setting it up, but all the while giving affirmation, telling you that hip-hopia is coming, telling you that the temple of hip-hop is coming, reading our gospel. Consistently every Sunday, we met just like this. Don't front. If the knowledge is in front of you and it's working and it's real, don't front. Don't be like these other people fronting on truth. What do you get for that? The lie. What do you get for that? The wages of sin is death. And not always physical death, death of your career, death of your dreams, death of your vision of yourself, your self-esteem, your self-confidence, death of your faith. Now we're faithed out here because it's not even faith anymore. We put the faith down as kindergarten students. Now we come up now on experience and wisdom. There's nothing to believe anymore. You show and you prove, and that's what we just did. We getting ready to walk into a temple that we didn't even know existed when we first started reading this. When we first started reading this, there was no temple. There was nothing. There was no 1520. There was none of that. We read the gospel. At the end of the reading of the gospel, there's 55 Ludlow right there. At the end of the reading of the gospel, we're managing 1520 birthplace of hip hop right there. At the end of the reading of the gospel, which is on the 50th anniversary too, by the way, because remember, we took our time. We didn't say, oh, it's going to end here. Nope. We took our time. We just said, look, we're reading this. It happens to end on the 50th within this year. This is real. And if the knowledge is real, don't front. Grab your gospel and live this character. It works. It works. So now I have to go. Because I've read my gospel, I have people to meet, places to go. I have a culture to build. And so I'm going to dash out here. I'm going to meet with a few people right now. I got to run to the city real quick. I want to thank you all again. If I didn't say it, let me say it now. The Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop preservation ministry, archive, school, and society. We believe that to preserve hip hop is to preserve hip hoppers. To strengthen hip hop is to strengthen hip hoppers. To protect hip hop is to protect hip hoppers. So we don't approach hip hop objectively. We approach hip hop subjectively. I am hip hop. Rap is something I do. Hip hop, that's something I live. I am not just doing hip hop. I am hip hop. That is the revelation. Welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. For those that are joining our classes tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow fresh, 11 o'clock sharp. Make sure you're there, no lateness. The door gonna be shut. So make sure you get in. Make sure you get there like 10:30 maybe. You wanna get in early because the door gonna shut. So make sure you're there on time. 11 o'clock tomorrow for the day courses, 7 o'clock in the evening. I'll see you there for the evening courses. Hopefully you've registered. We sent out correspondence just last night too. Make sure you check your emails, check the temple, check. You don't want to be left outside the door. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna turn this over to DJ Son One. And I'm really out. We have to run. I have a 4 o'clock actually, so I must have talked right up to it. I gotta call this woman back too. That's it. Love, peace, and joy. Son One will be here in a minute. Peace. You should have some music playing or some shit. What do you want to get powdered up?
Yeah.
And you can't find your powder? There's a little crooked at the top.
Is it?
Though. Yeah.
All right, we'll fix it live.
You fix it live.
Here we go. Do-rag in real time.
I got mascara for you.
Ah, you silly. Peace and much love, everybody. It's been a super credible journey that we've been on. You have been a witness to the reading of the Gospel of Hip Hop, the official reading of the Gospel of Hip Hop by its author, the teacher, KRS-One. An incredible privilege, or credible, excuse me. We were just talking about words before we even came on. An extremely credible time that we've had together, and it's only going to get better. As Teacher had said, that the lining up of us reading this gospel, everything, all the times that it lined up, of which things in the world, new things in the world, you got to keep in mind it was written or at least published in 2009, written over a 14-year period, that it was so accurate in current events. And that seems to be a phenomenon of the gospel of hip hop, that it's always been like that. I know since I've gotten it, it always seems that way. Whatever's going on, if I randomly open it up, it's talking about current events or something that's going on in an eerily scary way. Like you can't plan it or you can't make it up. And for those of you who have been doing it, we have record of your attendance, those who have sent in your attendance to the email. We have that, and we know who's been here since the beginning, and that will forever go in the files of the Temple of Hip Hop. So you should really applaud yourself, because you did it. And we are going to keep moving forward. Obviously, we are not going to stop these Sunday transmissions. We'll continue on with this in some shape, form, or fashion. Of course, always teachers coming up with new lectures, different things to study. And also, we got to stay sharp. We got to continue our study of the gospel of hip hop. Hip hop, you don't stop. So obviously, we'll always refer to our gospel of hip hop. And I want to take you back real quick. Oh, and I lost my spot. Or one of the spots. I just want to take you back real quick. I'll try to read this as quick as possible. I know you guys have things to do. But I think this is a great way to start a reminder of what we've learned with our readings of the gospel of hip hop. I'm actually on page 9, and this is relating a lot to how Teacher began this call today. We're in the love at you know what? Right. Paragraph 23. What a great gift. What a great love. What a great God. But how soon do we forget after we had eaten and were satisfied how hungry we were just a moment ago? How quick did we forget our own strategies to our own success? We ate the fruit, but never replanted the seed. We drove the car far, but never looked at the gas tank meter. I'm reading this because we can't do this now that we've read the gospel together in this way. Know this, God's love, hip hop, is like a car that many people found with a full tank of gas topped off and ready to go. A gift freely given to all who would hop in. Now that we have driven this car for over 50 years or 40 years, through all kinds of terrain, the time has come to repair and replenish our beloved vehicle so that it may last another 50 years. However, Now that everyone has gotten where they intended to go using the vehicle, there seems to be little motivation toward the upkeep of the vehicle itself, the cause of everyone's good fortune. And of course, this is why the Temple of Hip Hop exists. God's love, hip hop, is like a banquet laid out before hungry people. Many people today are eating well, but they are not the chefs of their own meals. They eat, but they don't really know where their food comes from or even how it was prepared. They themselves were never truly hungry or homeless or even had to prepare their own food for themselves. They just sat down and started eating at an already laid out table. Therefore, the life lessons learned from being hungry and homeless, which accompany the skills of the chef, are absent from the copied presentations of the imitator, and any success found during this state of ignorance is indeed short-lived. This is how many today treat God and hip-hop. They seek the hand and not the face. They seek the luxury, but not the culture. The food, but not the appetite. The house, but not the home. The medicine, but not the health. The bed, but not the rest. They would rather use God, hip hop, than live God, hip hop. And of course, we're seeing that at this time more than ever. But such are acts of desperation, and such behaviors are expected of a people who have been traumatized as we have been. Hip hop saved us and made us not only rich, but important and well respected worldwide. How then can we forget God, the love that protected us and raised us up? How can we forget about hip hop, the craft that feeds us and gives us identity? Joe, you killing it right now. However, in my time, your past, many have already forgotten the love of God. Desperate and impoverished, and suddenly propelled to the top of the world's social circles again with the 50th anniversary. They marvel at the effects of their own artistic skills, caring little for the cause of such skills, hip hop. They just want to eat. And because they know not what causes their good fortune, they have become frantic and greedy, content with being imitators of the original presenters of the saving force, hip hop. Such an approach works fine for those who are not really serious about living hip hop for real. Such an approach to hip hop works fine if you are only participating in hip hop to get out of poverty or make a name for yourself. This approach works if you got something else to do and or somewhere else to go. But for those of us who live hip hop and seek enlightenment through hip hop and are seeking to raise a family while being an MC or DJ, etc., those of us who are without purpose as well as those of us who are burdened with purpose, we have no time to waste. At this very moment, while you read this gospel, you are being called out of the world again for your own protection and development. Will you answer the call this time? And I'll move over real quick now to page 36, another 9. Paragraph 12. Gospel, for those who don't know, means good news. The good news is that God is real, and this is our faith experience. For us, the existence of hip hop proves the existence of God's presence within us, around us, and for us. Yes, for us. God is with us. The spirit realm is all around us. God is actually present with us right now. God is at this very moment reading this gospel with us, to us, for us right now. Feel the presence. God actually likes you as hip hop. This is why you exist. The existence of hip hop proves for all hip hoppers that there is a divine intelligence looking out for us, or rather looking out from us. Something divine is concerned about hip hop, and this is the focus of our study. As hip hop scholars, we are seeking and tracking the patterns of, and tracking the patterns in nature of the force that made us hip hop. And this is right for us. As a community, we love God. Even though we may fall short of what God truly intends for us, still we yearn for the presence of God. We know that rap music is only the early leaves of a very young hip hop fruit that we, in immaturity and ignorance, continue to eat before it has fully grown into the fruit-bearing tree that it was intended to become. We are so much more than the leaves that bud up first to catch the sunlight. We have so much more growing to do. Hip hop today is like the seed of a great fruit tree given to a poor and desperate people in an effort to save them from the effects of terrorism their parents faced. But because of their own desperateness, fears, and doubts caused by such terrorism, today they eat the seeds as opposed to planting the seeds to grow the tree. Hip hop is like a seed that, if planted in your heart and watered by your faith, will spring up in you like a mighty fruit tree that feeds you and everyone around you all year round. But in our desperateness to eat something, anything, we eat the seeds of our own salvation, ultimately remaining hungry and unsatisfied, never truly attaining the harvest that the seed was meant to produce for us. We must reverse this. Another way of looking at this is to say that we are stuck eating eggs because we never nurtured the eggs long enough for them to become chickens. It is like we are eating raw food because we haven't yet learned to cook. In other words, when we plant the seed, hip hop, we never wait long enough for the seed to grow into the tree, peace and prosperity. That is what that it was intended to become. This is the actual state of hip hop today. We have been given the seeds of a great new civilization, but the seeds themselves are so valuable in the world that we just sell the seeds and eat the seeds without ever thinking about planting the seeds or from whom such seeds come. Many have become rich participating in hip hop's artistic elements, but they are only rich in their accumulation and consumption of seeds. They would be even richer if they would plant the seeds in their own minds and in the minds of those who need the seeds the most. But such is the state of a desperate and traumatized people. We may be outside of the prison walls, but we are still lining up to eat. This is why we as a people are not yet out of the dark in my time. Yes, we have been liberated, but we are not yet free. Yes, the chains are off our feet, but we haven't yet begun to walk our path. Yes, the chains are off our hands, but we haven't begun to reach or grasp for those things necessary to our healing and growth. Yes, today the chains are even off of our minds, but we still have not begun to actually think for ourselves. Yes, think for ourselves. We have the hip, the awareness of hip hop. But as a group, we have yet to attain the actual hop, the movement of hip hop. We think like hip hoppers, but we do not yet move like hip hoppers. We are aware of ourselves as a specific social group, but we are simply not moving collectively as a group we perceive ourselves as. This is why the Temple of Hip Hop exists. Congratulations. Welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. I am Minister Sun One. Again, the Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop Preservation Ministry, Archive, School, and Society. We believe that the best way to actually preserve hip hop is to preserve you, the hip hopper. Peace and blessings be upon you, your family, your existence. Have yourself a wonderful week. Peace and much love.